Welcome back to the show. A win today for the Saints would have definitely helped them move up in the standings in the NFC West, especially considering the results of the only two teams playing in their division. Our Darrell Green has more in the rest of the West. Darrell?
Thanks, Jim. Of course, the Saints win today, or a Saints win, would have gone over big, but they haven't really lost any ground either, thanks to Atlanta and St. Louis, and an otherwise similar day to ours in the rest of the West. The Atlanta Falcons entered the day trying to avoid sinking into an unrecoverable nosedive. Not to mention the fact that Dan Reeves began the season looking for his 150th career win, and heading into the afternoon, he was still looking. Atlanta has lost 3 of their last 4 games by 7 points or less, and that caught the attention of former Reeves employee John Elway. Elway's quote being posted on Falcons.com this week: "They should be 2-2, so they're hungry." Elway's concern was a little exaggerated. The gunslinger tossing 3 touchdown passes this afternoon in the Georgia Dome. The Broncos jumping out to a 23-0 lead and staving off a late comeback. Denver rolls to 5-0 with a 29-21 win. And the Falcons are still searching. A big day for Orlando Pace, finally getting his chance to start on the line for Dick Vermeil against the Raiders. Online this week, the rookie was talking like a veteran. Quote, "This is just like any other game for me. I just won't have to wait to play." Defense was the problem for the Rams today. James Jett catching 2 touchdown passes. Napoleon Kaufman getting it done on the ground for the black and silver. 162 yards and a touchdown. The Raiders ramble 35-17 the final. St. Louis falls to 2-3. Here's how we stack up now in the NFC West after week 5. Frisco still on top with Carolina. Of course, those 2 teams will meet tomorrow night on the Monday night game of the week. And really, right now, that's the premier matchup. That should be a pretty good football game watching those 2 teams here in the early part of the season.
Darrell, thanks a lot. Steve Corr, about 20 seconds left to go. If you're Mike Ditka, what do you tell this team this week to get them out of their doldrums, to get them back on track?
You know, I don't know if I can repeat what Mike Ditka is going to say, but I tell you what, I've been on several teams before that have been in this situation. They've got to do about 3 things. First thing they got to do is they can't give up. First thing they got to do, the second thing they got to do, they play hard, and the third thing they've got to do is the coaches and the players both. They have to get together and they have to look at each other in the mirror and decide, hey, is there something I can do to do better to get this thing on track?
All right, Steve Corr, thank you very much. And we want to remind you, got a special show coming up next Sunday. We'll be live in Chicago. Time is 10:30, not our normal 9:30. We're going to 10:30 for Ditka Review, but we'll be live at Soldier Field with all the highlights, plus, of course, Ditka Magazine this Tuesday, Ditka Live on Thursday. That wraps it up for us here on Ditka Review. Thanks for joining us, everybody.
Dorno Jr. It's time to introduce our special guest. He's a sportscaster for WWL 870 AM, general manager of the New Orleans Saints Hall of Fame, where we broadcast this show from. Also the play-by-play man of the New Orleans Zephyrs and the high school game of the week here on HNO TV 20, just to name a few jobs. Welcome, Ken Trahan. Ken, thanks for allowing us to do the show here.
Well, it's my pleasure. Thanks for having me. I didn't have to come far to be here.
No, you're right here with the office, and I guess we should start by talking about this place. It's really spectacular. I really never had a chance to see it until we started doing the show from here. I brought the kids, and they said, "Dad, how come you haven't brought us here before? This is really magnificent."
Working on our 10th year now. It seems like only yesterday when we opened this facility back in July of 1988. A lot of people were skeptical as to the direction of it and how far it would go and how successful we would be. Needless to say, we've exceeded their expectations and perhaps our own as well. It's a great place, and even as we speak, we're about to add on once more. Construction starts in about 3 weeks, which will probably shut us down for a week or 2, but that's okay. We don't get in the way of progress. It's been a marvelous experience, and it is a very nice place.
All right, let's now talk about the New Orleans Saints. Obviously, they have problems on offense, just to name one problem, but it looks like they finally did something to improve that situation. John Farquhar, the new tight end, 4 catches, 82 yards, and the Saints lost. He's a great addition to the team.
He's a good get for the price they got him for. Basically, you get a guy like this off of the scrap heap. You don't figure to find help in that situation with a guy of this caliber. And I say of this caliber, this guy can block. That's first and foremost and the most important thing in the scheme that they run. But he can also catch the ball. Now, he doesn't run that well, and he might be a tackle in this league in years to come. That's still to be determined. But I would suggest to you that the way he's playing right now, his best position is tight end. When I watched him play this past Sunday, and in fact the previous week, I made a comment to Jim Henderson, who does the games on WWL with Archie and I told him, I said, this guy is very reminiscent of John Tice. I said, he looks the same to me in terms of his physical stature. His abilities are similar. He can block, he can catch the ball, though he doesn't have the greatest of speed. That was a good get for the Saints, and that's one bright spot on offense, and they don't have very many.
Nobody drops names like Ken Trahan. As a matter of fact, I love that commercial you do on the radio for that restaurant. Will you just start naming off all these people? Do all those people really eat at that place?
Yes, they do. You're talking about P.F. Chang's China Bistro. In fact, they do. I would never mention it otherwise. It's all honest, and Lord knows that. So, yeah, they eat there, and they have a good time, and it is a good place.
I love that commercial. Getting back to the Saints, Heath Schuler, 1 touchdown pass this year. You did the preseason games live on the radio. What do we do here? How do we get this guy to play like he did in the preseason? Do we take Jim Henderson off the air and put you back on? Would that do it?
No, that wouldn't do it.
I mean, how come he's so different in the regular season?
Well, 2 trends of thought here. Of course, the Washington Redskins deemed that he couldn't play in the league, basically, and that's why they elected to let him go for a song and a prayer, basically. Now, in terms of what he can do physically, the guy is gifted. He has good feet. He has pretty good speed. He has a good arm. But from the standpoint of putting it all together, it hasn't happened. Will it ever happen? That remains to be seen. The guy that many people are drawing comparisons to right now, and rightfully so, is Trent Dilfer. He's having success in Tampa Bay. Basically the same kind of situation as Schuler. He played with a bad team and had terrible numbers for 4 years. The fans were booing him out of town, but the Bucs stuck with him even though they had a couple of coaching changes, and Tony Dungy is there now. Dilfer is playing great football now, but let me suggest to you that he has good players around him. They went out and drafted Riddell Anthony. They went out and got Mike Allstott last year. This year they got Warwick Dunn. You put good players around this guy, and all of a sudden he becomes productive. Now, is that the case with Schuler? I don't know about that. He has the physical ability. If you put better players around him, he might perform better, but I'm not sure of that. Norv Turner is a guy I have great respect for, the head coach of the Redskins, and Turner deemed that this guy wasn't his quarterback, despite the fact that he was their #1 pick. He's basically been beaten out by a #7 pick in Gus Frerotte. Frerotte is a guy that physically won't be confused with one of the better quarterbacks in the league. He's a guy that simply isn't going to get you beat. He won't make many plays, but as a result, Schuler is a guy that right now you'd have to say, not only is the jury out on him, but you'd have to seriously doubt whether he'll ever be successful in this league.
One of the things I like about the Saints Hall of Fame, I can look over here. We're not going to be able to get a shot of it, but you have the NFL current standings. Norv Turner must have known something. I noticed they're tied for first with the Cowboys at 3-1.
Well, the Redskins got off to a great start last year, but then they faltered down the stretch, so let's not be too judgmental. The difference is they went out and got themselves a defensive coordinator this year, got rid of Ron Lynn and got Mr. Nolan, and he's doing a fine job. And there's no question the Redskins are a better football team, and I think they will be a playoff team this year. As for the Saints, I picked them to win 6 games before the season started. I'll stick by that. Their schedule should allow them a few more wins, but based on the way they're playing, I don't know if they'll reach that figure. I sure hope they do. And if they do, you have to consider it a successful season based upon where they were. That was a terrible football team a year ago, and I thought the worst offensive football team that the Saints have ever had, and I've seen them all.
As we sit here in the Saints Hall of Fame, you look around at all these great former Saints players, George Rogers, Henry Childs, Bob Pollard. You have to know that eventually Wayne Martin, the NFL sack leader right now, will certainly have his bust here in the Saints Hall of Fame.
Yeah, I'm glancing over at all the busts over here to our left, and needless to say, there are a lot of guys that are going to be in here that aren't in here right now. The basic tenet is that you have to be out of football, and you have to have been out of the Saints organization for at least 3 years. So as a result, you've got some guys becoming eligible. We'll be inducting Ricky Jackson and Stan Brock in about a month's time now, November 14th, in an induction ceremony at the Hyatt Regency downtown. Angela Hill will receive our Fleur-de-Lis Award, the Joe Gimelli Fleur-de-Lis Award, which I think explains what it's all about.
I got this jacket from Joe Gimelli. I don't know if you know that. I did.
Fits them all, man.
Yeah.
And in addition to that, you have a lot of guys that are becoming eligible right now, the Dalton Hilliards, the Eric Martins, the Jim Wilkes, the Frank Warrens, the Pat Swillings, the Bobby Heberts, and so on and so forth. You're going to have a lot of guys that are under consideration very shortly that all are going to get into this Hall of Fame. It's simply a matter of time, and that's a pleasant problem to have. We can only pick 2 every year, so some of these guys will have to wait patiently, but they'll get in.
And who decides on who gets in the Hall of Fame? Is there a group of people that vote on that?
We have an 18-man media selection committee, which is comprised of guys that have covered the team for the longest over the years, mostly from the New Orleans area, but also from Biloxi, Gulfport, and Baton Rouge. We have some guys that have been here for every Saints game, including Buddy DiLiberto, Pete Finney, myself, Ed Daniels, who was born and raised here. Ro Brown has been here throughout. In addition to that, you've got some other people that have been here for a long time. Bob Ressler has been here from day one. He's on the committee. And as I mentioned, we have some people that are from Biloxi Gulfport, A.J. Jardina from WLOX over there. In addition to that, we've got Sheldon Nichols from the Baton Rouge Morning Advocate, Steve Schneider from Channel 9 in Baton Rouge.
We told you he can drop names.
So it's a lot of people, and basically, we think they've done an excellent job. If you look at the people that they have selected that have been eligible over the years, I think they've done an outstanding job of making these choices.
Indeed, they have. Let's shift gears and look at the New Orleans Zephyrs. The first year in the new ballpark, breaking all kinds of attendance records. What a success. What do they attribute it to?
Well, I think a few things. First and foremost, location. You can take every element of what they put into this operation this year, and they were some marvelous elements, and Jay Miller does a fabulous job, and I believe in him professionally and personally. But if you take a look at where they're at, I think that made the biggest difference of all. You can factor in the fact that they changed affiliations, and there's no question this is a Houston market, and that helps. In addition to that, you can factor in the new ballpark. Beautiful place, fabulous place, the Shrine on Airline as it was dubbed. And I think in addition to that, you attracted families from throughout the metropolitan area, but it was all largely due to location. You put the same place in a different locale, it might not draw as well, and that's simply being honest. Although I think all of these factors factored into it, and I think Jay and his staff do a tremendous job.
I hate to put you on the line here, but are there any truth to the rumors that Rob Kuig is going to buy the New Orleans Riverboat Gamblers soccer team and move them to the Zephyr Park?
No, I don't think that's going to happen because I don't believe you could play soccer on a regular basis on a baseball field. In fact, it took some repair job to get that thing back in order for baseball. Fortunately, the Zephyrs were out of town when they played that game, and I'm thrilled for the Gamblers. And in fact, I wish them nothing but the best and do my best to promote their product on my radio vehicles. So I'd like to see them succeed, and I'd like to see them play as many as 3 or 4 games there, but you can't play that many games on that grass because you'll tear it up, especially the way the field is set up. I don't think that will happen, but keep an eye on Rob in terms of hockey in the very near future.
All right. Let's go ahead and plug your radio vehicle. Tonight at 8 o'clock, WWL, 870 AM. Those two guys, what do they say again?
Those two guys on Tuesday.
Those two guys on Tuesday at 8 o'clock. What else is coming up? I mean, what's coming up in the future of Ken Trahan? Anything nationally, or as Pink Floyd would say, you just keep kicking around on this piece of ground in your hometown? You're certainly not shy of any work. I mean,
I'm just another brick in the wall. What can I say? Ed Daniels joins me on Tuesday nights. We do 8 to 10 o'clock. Wednesday night, I do 8 to 10 on WWL. On Friday nights, I do the Bill Kuharich Show from 6 to 7, and then from 8 to 10. I created a show last year, which should be close to your heart. It's called WWL Prep Football Roundup, and we cover games throughout the area.
That's a good show.
And I'm involved with it and trying to groom it to a situation where I can turn it over to some other people here shortly. But the way it goes right now is basically we cover 5 games live. We have reporters out at those games. And then we have live guests on as many as 3 times, including a Legends of the Game segment. So it's a very good show. We're very pleased with it. Then Saturday mornings, I do Weekend Kickoff from 9 to 11 with Ed Daniels.
Don't forget the bowling over at Don Carter on Williams Boulevard. We'll see you over there as well. Leave some time for the alleys.
Plan on it.
Ken Trahan, thanks for being our guest.
The New Orleans Saints travel to Chicago in one of the oldest arenas in the nation in search of their second win. Mike Ditka storms into the home of his fondest memories to face Dave Wannstedt, a coach in search of a miracle. Despite first-half errors by both teams, the Saints offense steps up in the second half to make the big plays. But in the fourth quarter, it's the defense that comes up big. The New Orleans Saints hold on for their second win of the season for head coach Mike Ditka.
Hi, buddy. I'm Jim Gallagher. Welcome to a special live edition of Ditka Review coming to you live from Soldier Field. Saints win a big game tonight, 20-17 over the Chicago Bears. Now, coming up in the next half hour on Ditka Review, we'll go one-on-one with the head coach himself. Mike Ditka will be out here in just a few minutes to join us live. Steve Court will join us with his analysis. We'll also have player interviews live after the game, and Darrell Green will catch us up with the rest of the West. We've got a full half hour for you live from Soldier Field. But before we get to any of the live stuff here at Soldier Field, let's go back to Darrell Green and check out all the highlights of this game. Darrell?
Thanks, Jim. There were plenty, believe it or not, Saints fans. Let's go ahead and roll the tape, as they say in the big city. Chicago, of course, home for Mike Ditka for almost a dozen years, walking out onto the field where he had so many great memories. Picking up here in the first quarter, Mario Bates looking good off tackle. That is until he loses the handle. The fumble, hopefully not a tone of the game. Heath Schuler definitely sets a tone of the first quarter. He is picked after the bad pass intended for John Farquhar. Mike Ditka, not happy, understandably so. Alex Molden limping off the field. He's hurt. Hopefully a prognosis somewhere here in the show on his condition. In the second, 3-0 Bears. Saints driving. Schuler over the middle finally finds Farquhar. 42 yards later, he's brought down. That's going to set up the Saints' first points of the game. Doug Bryan from 37 yards jacks it through. We're tied at 3. Rick Meirer, he was harassed. Watch Leroy Glover all over him, bringing down number 13. We go into the break, tied at 3. Pick it up in the third. Mario Bates, let's change that score. He's got to go off tackle. 49 yards to the sideline, inside the pylon. 10-3 Saints after the extra point by Doug Bryan. Ray Zeller says, hey, coach, give me some of that ball. I want to run. 26 yards later, he's finally brought down. Saints looking good on the ground. 13-3. As we go into the fourth quarter, things starting to get scary. That is, unless you're a fan of the team with a C on your helmet. Watch Eric Kramer. He bulls in. 13-10. Heath Schuler right here. Misconnection between him and Jerry Fontenot. The fumble, that turns into more Chicago points. This time, Harris from 2 yards out. All of a sudden, it's 17-13 Bears. Don't celebrate yet, Dave Wannstedt. Schuler drops, fires. Randall Hill make a big play. Grabs it down, pulls it in, goes 85 yards for the score. That would be all of the scoring in this affair, folks. 20-17. The Saints get the win. Jim Gallagher, I can only imagine what Mike Ditka is feeling right now. That Saints sideline just had to go nuts after that big score.
Mike Ditka's reaction was priceless, Darrell. Mike Ditka more pumped up probably than he's ever been as the head coach of the New Orleans Saints when Randall Hill caught that big touchdown pass from Heath Schuler. And just a few moments ago, coming off the field, our Joe Trahan caught up with the man of the hour, Randall Hill. Let's take a listen to what Joe had to say.
Randall, talk about the big play. You were there, you had an opportunity, and you pulled it off.
Well, the bottom line is making plays, and we've been saying that all along. And you know, I think what he did was just give me because the guy had great coverage, and you know that was typical Dan Marino. Just give a receiver a chance to catch the ball. He didn't try to lead me. He just tried to throw it to me, and I just came back for it.
Talk about how special this is for you. We talked after the last game. You did not have a good game in New York, but you held tight and you came back and made a play.
Well, you know, I think more so it was he's not going to say anything about it. Coach Dicker's not going to say anything about it, but it wasn't for me, it's for him. And he's going to be humble like that, but you know, I still think this was more for him than anything else, and that's just my personal feeling.
Talk about what this win means for this team now.
Well, you know, hopefully we can carry it on and take it back home and get on a little high and a little roll and take it into the further on into the season.
Thanks so much.
Yep.
All right, real quick.
All right, that's our Joe Trahan. Joe, thank you very much. We appreciate it. Now, we're going to take our first break of the night, but we've got a lot more coming at you live from Soldier Field. We will have live player interviews. Mike Ditka is going to be out here in just a couple of minutes to join us live, and our Steve Corder standing by with his analysis of the game. It's all coming your way, so stick around. Ditka Review. We'll be right back live from Soldier Field. Welcome back live to Soldier Field, a special late edition of Ditka Review. Hi, everybody. I'm Jim Gallagher, and joining me live, one of the men of the hour for the New Orleans Saints, quarterback Heath Schuler. Heath, congratulations. A huge win for this team tonight.
It was a sloppy win offensively, but hey, when you look back in 2 or 3 weeks, it's just going to be a W.
What does that mean to you? You made some mistakes earlier, some turnovers earlier in this game, to come through and make that long touchdown pass to Randall Hill, a statement on your part.
You know, I look at it like this. I think God gives you an opportunity, and he puts you on the field and gives you the ability. You know, I just praise him that I was given the opportunity, and good things happen. You know, I think it was keeping the faith within our team, and we knew that we were only just a play away, and somebody had to make it. And the good thing about it, it was a throw but we had to have the blocking up front, which was just extremely well. And Randall made a tremendous catch and it put the ball in the end zone.
Mike Ditka's talked over and over about guys stepping up and making plays, and Randall Hill made one, didn't he?
Yeah, he sure did, and that's what we've needed. I think we look at it and we think, wow, we haven't made the big plays offensively, and let's hope that this is an opportunity that we can say we've made them before. Now we have the confidence we can have a second.
And you talked earlier, you need that first win, then that second win. What does this win mean to this team?
Well, it's a stepping stone. I think it's just the fact that that we had to come out and, maybe the best thing that happened that we had to come back and win this one. Offensively, we give it away with a turnover deep in their territory, and bam, we have to come out and make a play. And I think that is going to be in the long run better for us than if we just ran out the clock and the game was over with.
What did Mike Ditka say in that locker room just a few moments ago?
Well, he was so emotional, very excited about it, and the way he said it, he said, I want you guys to know that I'm a competitor. I'm going to jump on everybody out there. And it was one of the first time, he's really just sort of, went off on me. And, it's going to happen, and I was waiting for it to happen, just win. And the emotions obviously going to play with him being back home in Chicago. So, I look at it, he's a competitor. I wouldn't want to coach any other way. If he doesn't want to win as bad as we do, then we don't want him as a coach, but he is such a competitor, and he wants to win as well as the players do.
He was so pumped up on the sideline after that.
Oh, he certainly was. He certainly was.
And you had to know as players, even though he downplayed it this week, that this game meant a lot to Mike Ditka.
He had to downplay it. I mean, he had no other choice as a coach. He had to let the players feel like that was the key. I mean, that's, we played on Sunday night on TNT. I mean, that was a big game. That's just like playing on Monday Night Football. And it wasn't because of what we have done. It's what he has done, and he was coming home. So we're really proud of Coach Ditka and what he's done and he's meant to our team.
Heath Shuler, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Congratulations, big win for this team. Thank you very much. That's Heath Shuler. Now, earlier, just a few moments ago, our Joe Trahan was caught up with Mario Bates. He had a 48-yard touchdown run. Mario Bates had a long touchdown run, and our Joe Trahan caught up with him as Mario Bates was coming off the field. Let's take a listen to what Joe Trahan and Mario Bates had to say.
Nice cut back, and it popped wide open for you.
Oh, yeah, first of all, before the whole play started, they told me I was going to get back out in there. And coming back on the field, I just wanted something big to happen. And, that was the second time I got the ball. The first time was a pass, and the second one, was, I think, was a run to me. And I just wanted to take it out to the end zone, and it happened for me, and I'm glad.
You dropped the ball earlier. What did it mean for you to come back and make a big play, Mario?
To try to keep my head up. A lot of players told me to keep my head up, and I just want to let them know that I was still involved and I was still in it. And I answered the bell when they put me back in.
And what does a win like this mean for this ball club? You get a big play late and you pull it out.
Well, the win for us, we still, 8 more games. We can still be in the playoff hunt. We just got to keep on winning, and something like this, we can go back to New Orleans tonight and feel good about ourselves tomorrow.
Thanks so much. Congrats.
All right, that's Mario Bates and Joe Trahan. Joe, thank you very much. Joining us now, our Fox 8 analyst, Steve Court. Steve, you watched this one sitting next to me. This was a back-and-forth game, really an ugly game in a lot of times, but maybe a pivotal game for the New Orleans Saints tonight.
Well, there's no doubt about it, Jimmy. The pivotal part of it was the Saints were ailing on offense as well as the Bears. This is the worst offensive game that I've seen in quite a few. I mean, it's been years since I've seen a game this inept. So at the time when this guy's needed a dose of good medicine, it came to him at the right time.
How do you explain, though, when it's an inept ball game like that, yet a team comes through an 89-yard touchdown pass like Randall Hill, Heath Shuler or Randall Hill?
But it's one of those things, you knew they had the talent to do it, and it was just a point of them executing. Once they got to that point where they felt like, hey, we're down, we got nothing else to do, let's go see if we can make a long one happen, and they did, and it worked out for them.
And then Rod Cherry comes up, makes a big play at the end of the game. He gets that stop on that final play of the ball game, too, was a crucial.
That was huge, but I think the play before that, the one where Wayne Martin actually sacked the quarterback for the 6-yard loss before that, I think that was actually even a bigger play than the previous.
And then it sets it up, and then the end of the game, when he throws the ball forward, that's a penalty, and they have to run timeout.
Yeah, you can't do that. It's the old holy roller play. This junction of the game, you can't not fumble the ball forward in hopes of advancing the football down the field. It's against the rules.
Yeah, so when you look at this game, Heath Shuler talked about this being a stepping stone. Can this be a stepping stone for this team?
Well, I think, like I said before, they came at a critical junction, and it may or may not make this season. But I tell you what, it came at the perfect time because this team was down and out. And I tell you, with a win like this today, they may put them right back in the ballgame. I think they had enough confidence. I think Heath got the monkey off his back. I think the offense kind of got the monkey off their back because the way they did win the game, from actually being behind and then coming back to win the game, was a critical part of it, and they needed to know they could do that.
Steve Court, stick around. We're going to take another break, but we've got more coming up live from Soldier Field, well, including the guy we're waiting for, Mike Ditka. We'll have him live in just a couple of moments. He's still in there doing the press conference afterwards, but as soon as we can get Mike Ditka out here, we'll have Mike Ditka live. And Ditka Review, we'll be right back. Hi, everybody. I'm Jim Gallagher. Welcome back to a special live edition of Ditka Review, coming at you live from Soldier Field. Our Joe Trahan been a very busy guy off the field. Just a couple of moments ago when the game was over, he caught up with linebacker Winfred Tubbs. Winfred made a big play on the goal line earlier in this game for the New Orleans Saints. And let's take a listen to what Joe Trahan and Winfred Tubbs had to talk about.
Talk about the job that this defense did from the outset. Couple turnovers early, but you didn't give them 7 points in the first half.
Yeah, you know, we came down and we went at them, you know, caused a little trouble with the quarterback, you know, made him throw quick passes, and we were on him. Best thing we did was we came out and we played. We played hard. We didn't give up. I just like to congratulate the offense coming out with that big play, you know, in the fourth quarter, and congratulate the defense for holding up.
And talk about that last stand when you guys really held tight.
The last what?
The last stand when you held tight and didn't give up.
Yeah, you know, we was in a bad position. All they needed was a field goal. They were trying to hit underneath stuff, you know, get 10 yards a pop. But, you know, our pass rush, Wayne, Martin, Mickle, and all of them, they did a great job.
Thanks, baby.
Thanks.
Joe Trahan, thank you very much. Catching up with Winfred Tubbs. Back now with our analyst, Steve Court. And, Steve, the defense really did make a big difference in this game, didn't it?
The defense made a great difference in the game, but I think the fact was more, I think the Bears offense was pretty inept. It made our defense look pretty good. Nevertheless, some of the guys came up with some huge plays. I think they had pressure from the defensive line all night long. Winfred Tubbs played some great ball. Some of the defensive backs played some great ball, had some chances to make some pickoffs, didn't get those chances, but I thought they played pretty solid overall for defense.
Steve Court, thank you very much. We appreciate it. I'm going to hold on to this microphone. This is live television, folks. Steve, I'm going to ask you to take a state up. And coming our way in just about 4 seconds or so comes Mike Ditka, the head coach of the New Orleans Saints. And Mike Ditka will be here in just a moment, and here he comes now. Mike, how you doing? Congratulations. Let me hand you the microphone here.
Right.
And congratulations, a big win for this club.
You know, it's you know, hey, we snatched victory from defeat. Let's face it, about 9 times out there. It wasn't pretty. You know, I just told the guys on the radio, I said, you know, I don't care what people think, you know, we're trying. And I tell you right now, if they're not impressed with the way our defense goes after people and the way they play, they're crazy. This has the makings of being a very, very good defense. We can get this thing on track on offense a little bit and find a way to push the ball down the field some to take some pressure off our running game so we don't have 8 up all the time, Jimmy. I think we can be effective.
End of the game, the defense did come through, didn't they?
The defense came through all the time. They drove 33 and 6 yards to get their 2 scores. I mean, we gave them the ball down there. It wasn't anything they did. So, I mean, our defense played their hearts out. I mean, those guys got to have a lot of credit. The big sack at the end by Martin was a big array. Yeah. You know, so, I mean, our guys are really hustling. We got to get Moulton back there. He's a little banged up with the ankle, but Derod Cherry came in and hung in there. So it was good to see. You know, offensively, we got a long way to go. We know that.
Let's talk a little bit about the offense. So a huge play at the end of this game by Heath Shuler and Randall Hill.
Well, Randall Hill made a great play on that ball. I mean, it was a great throw by Heath, but he made a great play on that ball. There's no question the guy interfered with him. The guy had interfered with him on other plays, but he made the play. I mean, you know, that's what we pay those guys for, to make plays, and he made some great plays in the game. Randall made another great catch on a slant in. But, you know, that's what has to happen. We have to be able, Jim, to match up with their outside people, with our receivers, and beat them. We have to do that, more of that. We have to be able to get on top to get them out of the 8-man in the box.
And that touchdown pass clearly was the Tamba turning point.
Well, that wasn't the turning point. I don't know what was.
Talk about what that means to Heath Shuler's confidence too, Mike. He made some mistakes early. He had some mistakes. He was able to come through and make a big play like that at the end of the game.
Yeah, but the whole key to life, and Heath got to know this as well as anybody, you've got to become a consistent. You got to become consistent. If you're going to be sporadic, hot and cold, you will never make it in this league. I mean, consistency, what you're looking for, and you're talking about consistency where you play at a winning level all the time. And he knows that, and you know, I emphasize that to him, and I got on his back today too. And I'm not even going to apologize to anybody for anybody's back I get on from now on, because the only way I know how to do is get on their back. I told him all my yelling at them, it only lasts 10 seconds. At the end of 10 seconds, it's finished. I don't bother about it anymore.
Well, and you were clearly sending a message to this team that these guys have got to step up.
Yeah.
You talked about it all week.
Yeah.
Guys have got to step up and make plays.
Well, but emotional too. I mean, the guys were great. They came out of there emotional. I don't like night games because you got that all day to wait. But they came out. They were ready to play. You know, we didn't do well. The first half was probably as ugly as you've ever seen. But yet they were ready to play. Our defense was ready to play. Our special teams played hard. So I'm just happy with the win.
Mike, you made it, downplayed it all week, coming back to Chicago. Did this game mean any more to you coming back to Chicago?
Only for these guys, these players, and I mean that from the bottom of my heart. I really do. I mean, this, you know, and this will sound silly, and I could be right now. I could be in Green Bay or Detroit. It would make. I would know. I mean, I don't feel anything anymore. I'm not. You got me hooked down there. And I'm liking the swamp water. I'm liking all that stuff. You know, you got me hooked. This is not my home anymore. It was. I had a great time. God bless me. But it's not my home. I'm a Saint, and I'm proud to be a Saint. I always want to be a Saint. I'm going to finish, and I'm going to go to the grave as a Saint, I hope.
When you talked earlier about this team making mistakes in the game, does that, though, concern you about this offense? Still the ineptness this offense?
Yeah, because what it does, it creates a problem with Danny calling plays, because then at the end of the game, everybody said, well, we got conservative. We were afraid to turn the ball over. That's why we ran the ball in there. We were afraid to make another mistake, and that really hinders what you try to do with your offense. But, yeah, that bothers me. We got to correct them. I mean, we're back to minus 14, and, you know, that's bad. 3
games in a row at home against NFC West opponents. Just talk about what the future.
Well, we can make some hay if we make hay. You know, you can't win more than 3 till you win 3. You can't win more than 4 till you win 4. So we got a chance to win our 3rd game. We play Atlanta next week. They've been off for a week. It'll be a good game. You know, I'm going up with one of my best friends, you know, and they're a team that does score some points. Our defense is going to be pushed a little bit more. Our offense is going to be challenged because we have to do something. But, hey, you can't get any better than this now. If you don't like this, you don't like going home for 3 in a row in your division with a chance to come to 500, then you got to be nuts.
And clearly this can be a stepping stone game if this team can take advantage.
Well, we got to find out if we understand that. That's what we're going to find out as an organization, as a team, and as a coaching staff and everybody else. We've got to understand how important this is. I think tonight might have been a big. See, you know, when they scored, went ahead, the air did not go out of the balloon. It had gone out of the balloon earlier in the year, but not now. So I think the guys felt, hey, we're going to come back and win this thing. So finally we did.
Mike Ditka, congratulations.
Thank you,
we appreciate it. Thank you very much. And we've got to take another break, but we'll be back with more of Ditka Review live from Soldier Field, including an update and a look ahead to the rest of the NFC West. Stick around, everybody.
Be there to cheer.
Hello again, everybody. I'm Jim Gallagher. Welcome back live to Soldier Field for a special post-game edition of Ditka Review. Right now, let's go back to the studio in New Orleans and catch up with our Darrell Green, who catches us up with the rest of the NFC West. Darrell?
Thanks a lot, Jim. Each week here on Ditka Review, of course, we take a look at how the rest of the division is doing on the field. Ironically, they were all off today. The entire NFC West was idle this afternoon. With the exception of the Saints, the rest of the West had the week off.
After 5 weeks, the 49ers are in control of a weaker than normal NFC Western Division. San Francisco coming into the off week at 4-1. The man responsible for most of the success, naturally, Steve Young. Young leading the league with a 122.3 passer rating and a 71.4 completion percentage. Plenty of other notable performances being lauded at 49ers.com. The 49ers lead the league with a +12 turnover ratio with 11 interceptions and 19 overall takeaways. San Fran is also first in total defense, allowing only 240 yards a game. In Carolina, Cats fans are loving Wesley Walls. The former Saints tight end is leading the team with receptions with 15, yards receiving with 264, and a total of 4 touchdowns. The Panthers hit the bye week with a disappointing 2-3 record, though. The Cats take some impressive special teams numbers into Week 6 against the Vikings. Kick returner Michael Bates leads the NFC with almost 30 yards per return. He has 3 of 50 yards or more. One other note, Carolina is 1-1 after bye weeks. Dick Vermeil has found his workhorse in St. Louis. Lawrence Phillips is averaging 20 carries per game for the Rams and leads the NFC in rushing attempts with 101. His 4 touchdowns ties him for second in the conference. At Rams.com, the defense is getting the high marks for most improved. Unit ranks 6th overall in the NFC. They were 13th at this point last year. One other important note, wide receiver Isaac Bruce is expected to return next week. Not many highlights in Atlanta. Rookie running back Brian Hanspard has been quite a surprise, though. Hanspard recording 2 of the team's longest runs of the season, 57 and 77 yards from scrimmage. The other notables at Falcons.com, the defense has recorded at least 1 sack in its last 17 games, including 3 in the last 6 games. As a matter of fact, the defense is tied for the league lead with a total of 19 sacks on the season. Of course, the Falcons make the trip to the Superdome next week to take on the Saints.
NFC West standings look very familiar. 4-1. San Francisco still on top, followed by the Panthers, the Rams, the Saints, of course, pulling close at 2-4, and the Falcons at 0-5. Again, they are the next opponent for the New Orleans Saints. But for now, let's go back to Chicago and Jim Gallagher. Jim?
Darrell Green, thank you very much. Back now with our analyst Steve Court. And Steve, 3 games left to go, 3 straight games against NFC West opponents, Atlanta, Carolina, San Francisco. Can this be the start of something for the New Orleans Saints?
Well, it can, but the thing they got to keep in mind is they can only play one of them at a time. They can only win one of them at a time. Atlanta's not setting the world on fire. Carolina's definitely beatable, and I think everybody knows that we've beaten San Francisco before. Hey, they're great. They got a great opportunity to do something. They need to build them one at a time. They need to do the right thing. If they can continue to play the way they played, not tonight, but the way they played against Detroit.
Right.
But if they win it, no matter how they win it, they should have a chance.
Can this, though, we talked about earlier, is this the kind of game that can propel a team, not the way they played tonight, but can this team jumpstart a team and maybe move them forward a little bit?
Well, I think it can, and for one reason only, and that is the fact that they came from behind. They actually were down late in the 4th quarter, and it looked like, oh no, here we go again, the old Saints. And they came back and won the game with a great play, and I think that is indicative of what they can do, and I think that's probably going to pump them up and build them up and to get some belief in what they've got going on.
Steve Court, thank you very much.
you.
We appreciate it. That's it for our show. We want to thank you very much for joining us. That's it for us, our live special edition from Soldier Field of Ditka Review. Thanks to everybody who worked so hard to put this show together. We'll see you next Sunday night after the Falcons on Ditka Review. Good night, everybody.
Fox 8 Sports Special, and this is Ditka Review. Mike Ditka and the Saints face the Atlanta Falcons with a great chance for New Orleans to move within 1 game of 500. But Dan Reeves creates a different game plan. On offense, Jamal Anderson gets the call to run the ball down the field. And on defense, the Falcons' front line pressures Heath Shuler into even more turnovers. The Falcons succeed on both counts and force Mike Ditka to call on Danny Werfel. In response, the Florida Heisman Trophy winner leads the Saints to within a touchdown of the Falcons, but Atlanta turns up the heat on the Saints' last drive and snare Werfel's final prayer as the spoils of victory, giving the Falcons their first win of the season.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to tonight's edition of Ditka Review. The Saints have to be wondering, how much worse can it get? They blew a golden opportunity to move into 2nd place in the NFC West. Worse yet, they lost to a team that hadn't won a game all year. We've got the complete story of today's loss, and here's how we're going to break it down for you. We'll go one-on-one with head coach Mike Ditka for his exclusive perspective on today's game. Plus, we'll meet the Saints' outstanding individual performers. They are Ditka's Dynamos. Then later, former Saint Steve Court will join us for his analysis of the Saints and their performance. And finally, Darryl Green will bring us up to date on the rest of the NFC West. Mike Ditka and Dan Reeves may be close friends, but when it comes to facing off the football field, this was a game that both coaches not only wanted to win, they needed to win. But when it was all over, like it has been each week, mistakes were the difference for the Saints. Our Joe Trahan joins us now with the recap. And Joe, mistakes really killed this team again today.
They really did, Jimmy. They just couldn't get things going, that old shoot 'em in the foot thing. You know, just when you thought it was safe and just when you thought the Saints were going to turn the corner, it's 1 step forward and 2 steps back. You know, it kind of makes you feel like crying. But Saints fans, don't waste your tears. The Saints create new ways to shoot themselves in the foot early in this one. Heath Shuler and Ray Zellers botched the handoff, and the Falcons capitalized. Chris Chandler to Bert Emanuel as the Falcons lead 10-zip. The Saints digging yet another hole. Shuler was sacked 3 times in the first half and under constant pressure. Midway in the second, Shuler cracks. He misreads the coverage and gift wraps the interception for Michael Booker. The pass was intended for Randall Hill, who stormed off the field and blew up on the sidelines afterward.
We didn't connect on the play, and there's nothing on, nothing against Heath. He didn't. I'm not gonna say he did anything wrong or anything, but it just didn't click, and I'm just a little bit frustrated right now.
Shuler finishes the day 5 of 9 for 55 yards with the 1 interception and the 1 lost fumble. He also gets the hook at the half because he simply couldn't handle the pressure.
That's why we made the change. I felt that the pressure was just too much, and it was you owe it to the team. If we put him out there the second half, it'd have been ugly. I mean, the fans would have been on him, and probably rightfully so. I guess that's just the nature of this business.
After the first half apparently ended, officials called players back out onto the field, saying that the Falcons called a timeout with 1 second left. That allows Morton Anderson to drill a 55-yarder, one of his 3 field goals on the day.
We got an explanation after the game that it was a bad call.
Backup Danny Werfel doesn't fare much better than Schuler in his first at-bat, fumbling after this 3rd down sack. The Saints' league-leading 27th turnover of the season sets up the Falcons' 2nd TD and a 23-3 Atlanta lead. But the Saints' defense sparks a comeback. Mark Fields, who also notches 2 sacks, forces the Jamal Anderson fumble, and Joe Johnson recovers. Danny Werfel makes it count with the strike to Andre Hastings, who makes the spectacular sliding catch.
They got it in man-to-man coverage, and that's what you're looking for. And we had the right route on. He made a great route, and I didn't even make a great throw, and he made a great catch.
Ensuing kickoff, Wes Bender puts his helmet on the ball, and receiver Brett Besh recovers the fumble. The Saints convert again when Mario Bates vaults into the end zone on the 4th and 1 play, and the lead is cut to 6. But the Saints couldn't punch it in on 2 late fourth-quarter possessions. Werfel gets sacked 7 times in the second half, and the Falcons set a team record with 10 sacks total. Also the most the Saints have ever given up in one game in team history.
They did a lot of good stuff. They did a lot of stunts and games and stuff, but it's stuff we've seen and stuff we should pick up, and we should be able to pick up a lot better than we did out there today.
It's another stumble. You know, we've lost 5. It's not the end of the world. You know, we have a lot of winnable games left, so that's what you want to focus on.
And the Saints say they will not cry over spilt milk. They will go on. Danny Werfel will get his chance, but the bottom line is if the offensive line doesn't play any better, they still won't be able to win. And Jimmy, Willie Roaf after the game said it was probably the worst game he's had in the NFL, and that's what happens when you get 10 sacks against you.
I agree with William Roaf. Now, each week after the game, Saints head coach Mike Ditka joins us for an exclusive post-game debriefing. The coach was, as always, candid in his assessment. Mike, clearly this is as disappointing as it gets, isn't it?
Well, yeah, it really is, Jim. When you look at, you know, we play poorly. I mean, on offense, we play very poor. Our defense is playing their hearts out, and it's not that our offense isn't playing hard. We're not playing well. I mean, we're not executing basic things, and we had a little bit of a weakness exposed today in pass protection when we're behind, and you know, we have to throw the ball. We didn't protect the quarterback. I mean, this kid will get the ball to somebody if you give him time.
What happened? 10 sacks in this game.
Basically, they just beat our defense, our offensive tackles, and our linemen, really. They made one blitz. I think Bennett made one on a blitz. The rest of them came from their defensive linemen, and Chucky Smith went up against our best guy, and he had a big day.
Have you ever seen William get beat like that, even in practice?
Never. No, not even, doesn't even approach that. William works hard. He'll bounce back. I'm not worried about William. If everybody, you know, worked like William Roaf, we wouldn't have no problems. He'll bounce back. You know, it's one of those days. Hey, you know, they all had him. Babe Ruth had him, too.
You pulled Heath Schuler at halftime. What was your thinking there?
Jim, I don't know. You know, I think that I need a spark right now. This offense needs a spark. They need something to hang their hat on, something to believe in. I don't know. I'm not blaming Heath. Believe me, I'm the last guy to blame anybody. I take the blame. But we just have to have something ignited. Maybe Danny can light the fire on them. I don't know. Maybe we'll play better behind it. I don't know. I know he hung in the pocket. He's a tough, courageous kid. I mean, he threw that ball downfield knowing he was going to get hit. He made a bad judgment on the one. He should have thrown the ball away. But other than that, I mean, this guy is a football player, and he'll do the best he can to try to help us win right now. And that's all we're trying to do. We're trying to win. This has got nothing to do with anything else except trying to win a game.
And you will start Danny Werfel next week, then?
I plan on starting Danny Werfel next week.
How tough a call is that when you brought Heath in and you've made a big decision?
It's a tough call, you know, but what do you do when you make a call? I mean, what do? You sit around and say, okay, if I made a mistake, which I'm not sure I did, or we did, what do you do? Just let it compound by not making any change to find out, hey, we've got to find out if we can get this thing on track again. This thing's not over by a long shot. Everybody's going to come back to the pack before this thing's over. There are no dominant teams out there. All we got to do is go out and quit shooting ourselves and play a little better. So, I mean, if we made a mistake, going back to what I was saying, hey, what do you say? Well, we'll correct it 2 years from now or a year from now. You can't do that. I mean, the worst thing I see in life is when people make a mistake and then they compound them by making 2 or 3 more. I'm not going to do that.
But the turnovers really changed this game.
You know, and not only that, Jim, where do they happen? You know, I mean, I sit out there, I look at, it's like deja vu. I mean, you look out there, you look at what's happening. I saw all this before. I've seen this every week. I mean, you almost start expecting something bad to happen. I think that's what's happened to it. You know, we talked about believing in ourselves all week, you know, what we can do. This thing isn't over, but I mean, our guys have just got to take the bull by the horn, and we got to play better. Offensively, we'll go back, and I told them, you know, we'll check and see what we're doing, if it means doing something else. But we went from tight formations to spread formations to double spread formations, and we weren't really effective anywhere, except when, you know, Danny threw the ball.
Now, there's still much more ahead on tonight's show. When we return, we'll continue our conversation with Mike Ditka to discuss the turning point of today's game. Then we'll get the Falcons' side of their first win of the season, and a few players did step up today. We'll introduce you to Ditka's Dynamos. Stay tuned. Welcome back to tonight's show. It's time now for the turning point. It took nearly 3/4 of today's game before the Saints made things exciting. Someone needed to make a play. Someone did. Unfortunately, it was Falcons defensive end Chuck Smith. It's time now for the Tamba turning point. And Mike, end of the game, you get the ball back. You've got a chance to drive the win, and Danny Wuerffel just doesn't have any protection.
35-yard line. And, you know, actually on the last pass, I mean, he's got a chance. With the last pass, the guy gets behind him if he has time to throw the ball where he's trying to throw it. And, you know, he rushes the pass, and same thing on a corner route earlier. But, you know, we had the ball. The defense did their job. We got the ball back, and we couldn't. And I really felt we were going to capitalize on it, too. I really did. I felt we were going to beat them by a point.
Is that more distressing when you see your men just getting beat in man-on-man block? It's not like they did stunts that you can correct. No. These guys just getting beat one-on-one out there.
They won the battles today. That's why they won the war. They won all the individual battles up front. This game is, you know, regardless of how scientific you want to make it, it's a game played up front. I mean, you know, the big guys are going to control the tempo of what happens. They took the tempo away. We got it back with our defense. They got it back at the end by just throttling our offense.
And defensively, people look at it and say 23 points, not a good effort. You have to look at this, though, and feel like it was a pretty good effort by your defense.
Our defense played great. Again, you're traveling 8, 6, and 30 yards. I don't know. That's pretty hard to stop them every time. They stop them 2 out of 3. That's pretty good.
I talked to Dan Reeves after the game. He said it was a little bittersweet when he beats a friend like this. Truly got his first win, but it's tough when you...
Well, sure, and I would have felt the same way. There's no question about it. That's the hardest thing in this business. I'm not close to a lot of people, but Dan probably is the guy I'm closest to because we worked together for so long. But, you know, and I'll be honest with you, you know, there's a saying, you know, you be humble in victory, gracious in defeat, and I mean, be humble, yeah, and grateful you got the opportunity. I have that sign on my desk. And I am gracious in defeat in the sense that, hey, they deserved it. They took it to us. They deserved it. Dan did a great job. They had the week off, and evidently what they put in and planned worked very well. So, I mean, if it's going to happen to somebody, I don't like to lose. I'm not going to say I ever like to lose, but I congratulate Dan and the Falcons. It was a good game for them.
You've got 53 guys in that locker room you're going to face tomorrow. What do you tell them tomorrow to get them ready for Carolina?
Well, basically, I told them after practice today the same thing. I mean, after the practice, after the game today, you know, the only people that can control this are us. I mean, there's no use looking around. You know, we exposed some vulnerability today. We really did. And now we're going to have to correct that. Now, but who corrects that? You know, everything we say, we don't say things for effect, Jim. We say things because they're real, and if you do them, they'll work. And, you know, win the little battles to win the war. We didn't win them. I mean, in areas that we needed to win them, you know, on our offensive line, we didn't win them. Now we got to take the bull by the horns. We really do. I mean, there's got to be an awakening here. We just got to become mentally tough about this whole thing. And I don't, like I said, we're going to go back to the drawing board, look at the plays, but I don't think the plays are the problem.
Time now for the other side, and after the game, I caught up with some of the Atlanta principals.
We came in and played a really good defense today. That you know, they've been bringing a lot of pressure, and today was no different. They blitzed, I mean, countless times. I can't remember, but you know, we missed some protections. Other times they just beat us. And it was a good game for us to hang in there offensively.
I feel blessed today, you know, to have an opportunity to play against a guy like Rolf. He's a fantastic tackle. It's just one of those days where things didn't go good for him, and they went good for me.
You know, I thought the only way we could possibly lose the game was to help them in the second half, and you know, you turn it over a couple of times, and that's what they did in the first half. So we finally hung on to one.
Is it a bittersweet win, though, when your good friend Mike Ditka's on the other side?
Yeah, because I know what Mike's going through, but he's got 2 already. I needed to get 1.
Now, there's still more to report on today's game. When we return, We'll recognize today's key Saints players and their performances. And we'll turn to Steve Court for his analysis. It's all coming up on Ditka Review.
Be there to cheer.
Thanks for joining us tonight on Ditka Review. There were several plays that kept the Saints in today's game, but the biggest plays were made by Ditka's Dynamos. Let's take a minute to recognize their performance, and we start with the offense. And Danny Wuerffel gets the call on offense. 1 touchdown pass. He was 9 for 13 through the air. Even with 7 sacks, he stood tall in the pocket. Defensively, a lot of players stood out, but we go with our nod to linebacker Mark Fields. 9 tackles, 2 sacks, both of them at crucial times. And on special teams, our award goes to Wes Bender. He came up with a big special teams play. He puts the hat on the helmet, gets the forced fumble. Wes Bender is our Ditka Dynamo for special teams. Let's analyze the Saints' overall performance a little more. And joining us now is ex-Saint and our Saints analyst here on Fox 8, Steve Court. And Steve, you played on some offensive lines. They gave up a few sacks in a game. 10 in one game is a ridiculous number, isn't it?
Yeah, that's deplorable, and you can't win a football game like that by any stretch of the imagination. The thing is, I think Halloween's but a few weeks away. Well, it was scary today because it looked like there was a Saints quarterback had turned into Atlanta Falcons, or was that maybe a defensive lineman draped over him as a costume? It was scary.
Yeah, the only guy missing was Freddy Krueger. It was like a nightmare on Poydras. It really was.
I tell you what, I've been around a lot of offensive lines before, and I've seen a lot of things happen. I have never quite seen a team fall apart like it did, and it was disturbing because there was too many sacks, and they were all coming from the perimeter, and you can't win a football game like that. I think that the third down ratio was, I think, 15%. You can't do that.
And most surprising is William Roaf, who's the best offensive lineman this team has, one of the best in the league, giving up 5 sacks to Chuck Smith.
Well, I think Chuck Smith's a good player. I mean, there's been several times that we've played against Chuck Smith before when I was a player here, and I think what had happened was I think Willie Roaf's a much better offensive lineman than Chuck Smith is a defensive lineman. I think Chuck Smith had his number today, and I think it was a thing where he just got the perimeter on him and kept the pressure on him and kind of figured out Willie's riddle, and they came out a winner.
Turnovers, again, a big problem in this game today also.
Turnovers have been a problem for the Saints all year long, and I think unless they can rectify that situation quickly, you're going to see more of the same.
Mike Ditka made the decision to go to Danny Wuerffel after Heath Shuler had some mistakes, turned the ball over. Good call?
I don't think that there was any way he could not make that call at this point. I think he gave Heath enough time. I think he gave him a preseason to get the hold of the grasp of the offense. I think he gave him 7 games into this game, or 6.5 games into this season to try to make a thing. He had to look at Wuerffel. I think Wuerffel has got to be the guy he's got to at least lean on now.
You played on some teams. Dave Wilson, then Bobby Aber would take his place. Can this be a spark for this team? Can Danny Wuerffel turn this season around?
Well, I think it might have been a little indicative from the standpoint of when he did come in, they did do some things right. They did get some offense rolling at some point. He completed some passes. He scrambled out. He made things happen. He tried the best he could. He wasn't getting any help. And I think, I don't care who you had back there. You could have John Elway back there. You could have Joe Namath back there. Johnny Unitas, any of them. And when you got a guy draped on your back or in your face all the time, it's not going to work out.
7 sacks is a tough performance. Steve Court, thank you very much. We appreciate it. Now, don't go away. There's still more ahead on Ditka Review, but first, we'd like to introduce you to one young man who had a great day at today's game. Jonathan Henley of New Orleans took the field with the Saints for the opening coin toss. Just one part of the excitement being selected as today's Hibernia Junior Captain. Now, your son or daughter may also be selected to enjoy this unique honor. To stop by any Hibernia location, you can register your child for all the fun your family can share at the next Saints home game. Now, there was another big game in the NFC West. Rams and the 49ers. Darrell Green will catch you up to date on the rest of the NFC West as Ditka Review rolls on. Welcome back to Ditka Review. There was a good chance top of the NFC West might tighten up after today's games. Our Darrell Green is here with the rest of the West. Darrell?
Thanks, Jim. One of the interesting aspects of today's Falcons-Saints game was the recent dominance by Atlanta. The Falcons winning the last 5 in a row over New Orleans, but we found out that that's not the longest winning streak going when we took a look at the rest of the West for Week 7.
The Saints weren't the only ones playing within the division today. The 49ers taking on the Rams for the second time this season. The Niners looking for another sweep. As a matter of fact, the Rams have failed against San Francisco the last 14 times the two have played. That was the obvious topic of conversation online this week. Head coach Dick Vermeil taking offense at the suggestion that the streak would be pushed to 15 wins in a row for San Francisco. His quote, "There's no law against us beating San Francisco. But there should be legislation forcing the Niners to play with only 10 men or something." Steve Young is back to form. Young tossing 3 touchdown passes this afternoon, finishing the day completing 19 of 30 for 223 yards. San Francisco runs it up to 15 in a row and completes the season sweep, 30-10 the final from 3Com Park. Pantherland isn't the same happy place it was this time last season. Heading into the day, Carolina was 2-3 and having quarterback troubles. Kerry Collins isn't the same since his preseason head injury. After committing 9 turnovers in 3 games, Collins was benched in favor of Berline. A lot of skeptics, including head coach Dom Capers, wondering if Collins isn't tentative because of the injury. Even Collins is starting to wonder. His quote, "I don't feel like I'm backing away from anything, but I don't know." Steve Berline back under center for the Cats this afternoon. He tosses a pair of TD passes against the Vikings, but Minnesota will get the last word on this one. Robert Smith breaking the plane with just under 4 minutes left to break a 14-all tie. Minnesota hangs on for the win, 21-14.
Here's how the standings break up. San Francisco is still the cream of the crop at 5-1. Carolina and the Rams all at 2-4. The Saints at 2-5, and of course today the Falcons got their first victory of the season. Dan Reeves, 150th as a head coach.
Darryl, Steve, thank you very much, guys. Now there is no rest for the Saints over the next 2 weeks. Key games ahead against the Panthers and the 49ers, and we're ready to bring you the most comprehensive coverage of the Saints this week. We'll start on Tuesday. Ditka Magazine will go inside the Saints, and we'll talk with Danny Wuerffel about the key plays of this Falcons game. Later in the week on Ditka Live, Mike Ditka will face our live studio audience to preview the game with Carolina. And we'll be back here next week at our usual time to bring you all the highlights of the Saints game against the Panthers. Thanks for joining us, everybody. We'll see you next week on Ditka Review.
Danny Wuerffel against the Panthers to spark an anemic Saints offense. But Wuerffel's first NFL start turns into a bloodletting, marred by ineffective Saints pass protection as the Panthers sack the Florida Heisman Trophy winner 7 times. And on the few plays Wuerffel finds time to throw, his arm falls short of the mark. By game's end, Panther pressure makes Danny Wuerffel's head spin as the Saints end a 216-game scoring streak and continue a losing one against the NFC West.
Hi, buddy. Welcome to tonight's edition of Ditka Review. It was Mike Ditka's hope that starting Danny Wuerffel at quarterback and Troy Davis at running back would spark this Saints offense. But without any pass protection or run blocking, the Saints offense failed to fire. For the first time in nearly 13 years, the Saints were shut out. In 1983, have the Saints failed to score a single point in a regular season game. The offense, in a word, brutal. Brutal also way to describe the beating that quarterback Danny Wuerffel took today. Anjo Trahan is here with a look back, and it was ugly out there this afternoon, Joe.
Jimmy, that offense was just plain hard to watch. Now, after he was thrown for 7 sacks in the second half against Atlanta, rookie Danny Wuerffel knew that his first starting assignment would be tough. But after the beating he took today, the Heisman winner has to be asking himself, how could this happen?
Well, I think we hit bottom, gang. Maybe we can bounce. I don't know.
It's a rude welcome for Saints rookie Danny Wuerffel in his first start as a pro. Down 3-zip early, Wuerffel and Randall Hill miscommunicate, and it's an easy pick for Eric Davis.
As soon as I hiked the ball, saw everybody swarm, so I went backside to throw it, and you know, without thinking, I fired thinking he was going to turn, but he ran a 6 route like he should have, so that was my fault.
The Panthers capitalize. Kerry Collins tosses the screen to Anthony Davis, who does the rest. 14 yards, and the Saints were down 10-zip. Second quarter now, Wuerffel engineers a drive and a chance to come back, but he underthrows Andre Hastings, and Davis gets pick number 2.
As far as the post pattern, I felt like I should have got better position on the guy to make the catch no matter what the throw was, because it was thrown to me. That was an opportunity for me to make a big play, and I didn't come up with it that time.
In the third, the Saints defense tries to kickstart the offense. Sammy Knight picks off Collins, and the Saints set up shop at the Panther 46. But Wuerffel and company can't move the ball when it counts. One of the Panthers' 7 sacks on the day stalls the drive and crushes any hope of a comeback win.
Mike Ditka inserted Heisman winner Danny Wuerffel into the lineup, saying he was looking for a spark. But instead, the Saints come up with their poorest performance offensively of the season, getting shut out here against the Panthers.
It would be unfair to blame Wuerffel, though. He was under constant pressure from the Panthers' blitz-happy defense, and the Saints' offensive line was of little help.
They were coming up the middle quite a bit. You know, they were bringing the linebackers up the middle, and, you know, I could pick up one of them, and then one would come free.
Wuerffel says he can't remember the last time he quarterbacked a team that was shut out, or when he last suffered through such a brutal class in the school of hard knocks.
You have to be prepared on every play like that's the play of the game. I think, you know, sometimes in college you can relax a little bit. You know, at Florida, if we missed one, we'd come back and fire at it again and have a good chance to hit it, you know, and you know, it's not that way here. You never get the same coverage a lot twice. You never get the same look. So when you do get a look, you got to take advantage of it. And I think that's one of the biggest things I learned.
Now, the questions remain about whether Wuerffel has the tools to get the job done on the pro level. We'll talk more about that later in the show. But let me say this. With the way the Saints offensive line played today, you could have had Johnny Unitas, Bart Starr, Archie Manning, whoever you want. You still couldn't have moved the ball through the air. Jimmy, the Saints have some serious issues that must be addressed with that front five.
He looked a lot like Archie today. He took a lot of
He took
those
a beating
beatings today. He really did. Now, Joe, as you can imagine, it was a somber Mike Ditka that sat down with me for our weekly post-game one-on-one. He is a coach running out of answers.
Mike, first of all, I know this has to be another disappointing loss for this team.
Well, you know, yeah, and I don't think it's time to eulogize us yet, but you know, it's hard when you know that you have enough to really win a football game because of the way your defense is actually playing. And it's very hard to understand why we have no continuity on offense for the things we do. We have no confidence. At times when it's a hit or miss situation, we've got to be, and it's no use beating up the players. I take the blame for the offense because basically, you know, what happened in third down a lot, you know, once we were in 4 receivers, we could not protect that when they came off the edges. And if we did throw the ball hot, which we tried to do a couple of times, we couldn't make the first down. We did try to go to some 3-step drops. We had a lot of balls knocked down at the line of scrimmage. You know, again, I try to tell people every week, you know, people want to make the emphasis of quarterback. It can't be the quarterback. Danny he almost got physically hurt out there today. I mean, as many times as he got hit. He's a tough, courageous young man, and he'll hang in there and he'll play just as Heath is, just as Doug is. But I mean, my God, the job of the offense is to protect the quarterback. You protect the quarterback by creating an effective running game, play-action passing game where you don't have to get into the so-called third and throw the ball.
Mm-hmm. When you talk about a lack of confidence, how do you get this team to be confident on offense?
I don't know right now. I'll be honest with you. Jim, and I'll be honest, I've tried everything. Again, I'm not saying this as, you know, to inflate anybody. I still believe that there's enough talent on that offense to be effective. Be great, maybe not great, but effective. With the receivers, the quarterback, the running backs, and our line. I think there's enough. Now, it might be what we're doing offensively. Maybe it's the scheme of things, and we have to look at that as coaches. We have to be willing to say, hey, you know, we're not putting them in the best position to operate this offense that we can. And if we're not, then we have to change it. You know, it's just a shame because, again, you know, all facets of a team have to play as a team. You can't just, you know, we were inside our 20-yard line, what, 7 out of 11? I mean, it's crazy. That makes a long field. There's an unwritten law that if you start inside your 20, you make the other team start in there seven or 8 times a game, you'll beat them every time because too many bad things can happen. But actually, yeah, we started inside our 10 most of that time.
Right, and this offense at this point, correct me if I'm wrong, is incapable of going that
Not
far.
only that, it's hard to call play to get out of there. You know, we hit a couple of things, but very little. I mean, there's no continuity. You know, we look like we're going to start running the ball a little more effectively. Then we call basic slant play, and we're hitting the backfield. I mean, I don't know who misses the block, but somebody does. That shouldn't happen. We're not sealing the line of scrimmage well enough. People were taking chances on blitzes with us from the backside and getting away with it. We ran one reverse, actually gained some yardage. We have to be able to keep people honest on the backside somehow, and right now I don't know how to do it, I'll be honest with you.
Did you expect this offensive line was going to struggle like it is right now?
I thought we might struggle a little bit, and then we'd come together. Actually, coming out of exhibition, I thought we'd be pretty darn effective. I wasn't really too worried about it. I thought we could knock some people off the ball, run the ball effectively. I thought that would help our play-action passes. The thing that's killed us is the turnovers again. I mean, even the turnover, you know, finally the interception they got a touchdown on, but it's just where we turn the ball over. Of course, if you're always in your own territory, you're never in the other guy's territory, chances are you'll turn over in your own territory.
Thanks for joining us tonight on Ditka Review. This was not an easy loss for Mike Ditka to take. Just when it seemed the Saints caught their first break of the game, the coach was disappointed that the offense couldn't take advantage.
Time now for the Tamba turning point. Mike Ditka, third quarter, you get the interception from Sammy Knight, then the offense can't go anymore.
Absolutely. We 3 and out, I believe, and or 4 and out. I don't remember if we went 4 or not there. And you know that's what we needed really. We needed a spark there to do something, put 7 on the board. And I told him in halftime, if we could put 7 on the board, I really felt it would change the complexion of the game. I'm not saying we would have won the game or anything. I just think it would have changed the complexion of the thing. But I think we would have put them in a little bit of bind where they would have done some things a little bit differently. But you know, when you don't do it, then it's hard to say why you don't do it.
Evaluate Danny's performance today for me.
I can't. You know, I'm not going to sit here and evaluate him as doing a great job or a bad job. He played courageously. I think the one interception was his fault. I don't question that. Well, both of them. He underthrew the second one. He knows that. I think under the harassment he had, I thought a lot of times he responded very well. I thought he did some pretty good things. But you know, this is not a one-man game. You know, we have a tendency to put the quarterback way up here and everybody else down here. You know, Danny Wuerffel would lead this team to victory. He'll lead this team to great things. So will Heath Shuler. So will Doug Nussmeier. If the other people around him, you know, do their job. If they don't do their job, then it doesn't matter.
Are you satisfied with what your defense is playing right now? Held the Panthers to 13 points today.
The Panthers aren't a knock-them-out offense, but I tell you what, they got great skill people, and they got a good quarterback who gets rid of the ball, can throw it. The receivers are, I think, very good receivers. A good running back in Johnson and Bibatuka. You know, yes, I'm very proud of what they did, but then again, you know, it's kind of muffled and lost in the clamor of what the offense isn't doing.
What do you tell this week, again, these 53 guys who were in that locker room?
Jim, I don't have anything to say anymore. I really don't. I mean, my main theme is going to be, hey, you know, I can't control what you do. If you want to throw the towel in, that's your business. I'm not. I don't think as a team it's over. I don't think we have to say, well, we can't get any better. We're not going to win some football games down the line. We're not going to be able to upset some better football teams. But, you know, that's up. You know, I don't know. I do a lot of talking. And sometimes maybe I do too much talking because I don't know who hears at a certain point. You know, I know that it's a very disappointing loss. It's a disappointing loss, you know, to the fans, and I understand that. To the owner, and I understand that. To the people in our organization, to the players, to the coaches, to their families. I mean, this is, as I said, maybe we hit bottom. I mean, maybe we'll start bouncing now.
You talk about guys. Do you think there's some guys who have thrown in the towel on this team?
I don't. I watch guys play. I watch them practice. I don't know. I can't get into everybody's mind mentally, you know, but I don't know. I would honestly say these guys are trying. They're really trying. So therefore, maybe what we're giving them to try with isn't good enough on offense, but they're trying.
Now that we've heard from Mike Ditka and the Saints, let's turn our attention to the other side. At the end of today's Fox broadcast, I was able to catch up with Danny Wuerffel's least favorite target, Panther cornerback Eric Davis.
We knew he had the ball up in the air a lot. We figured that if we could just stop the run, we'd put it in his hands. That's what we wanted to do. You know, he's a young guy, so we were going to try and move around, you know, blitz a lot to try and get him nervous back there, and, you know, we were able to make some plays.
You put a lot of pressure on him, too. That makes a big difference for the DBs.
That's what we were trying to do. Like I said, we want to send people at him and have him feeling that guys were coming from all angles so that he would have to make quick decisions and hopefully make some bad decisions. And, you know, guys were where they were supposed to be for our part, and we were able to make plays.
Welcome back to tonight's show. Each week on Ditka Review, we take a few moments to recognize those Saints who stepped up, guys who made a play. Actually, there were a few today. They are Ditka's Dynamos. We start
on offense. Wide receiver Randall Hill is our guy on that side of the ball. He had 5 catches for 79 yards, the longest 41 yards, a big play he made early in this game. On defense, linebacker Winfred Tubbs continue playing at an all-pro level. Tubbs had 16 tackles today. Second week he has been in double figures in tackles. On special teams, our nod goes to the local guy. Wide receiver, former LSU Tiger from Slidell, Brett Besh, had 2 big tackles on special teams this afternoon. Now we've seen the key Saints players. Let us talk about some of the major moments in this game. And joining us now is ex-Saint and our Fox 8 analyst, Steve Korp. And Steve, first of all, let's talk a little bit about evaluating this offensive line. You played 9 years in the NFL. This line is not, bottom line, just not getting this job done, are they?
Well, they're not, and you figured at this time that they would probably be getting it done this late part of the season. I mean, we're halfway through the season, and they haven't gelled yet. They haven't got it together yet. I had an old college coach one time that told me, he said, you know, there's a saying that goes with the offensive line. It's what's up front that counts. These guys haven't got it done yet. I think Wuerffel's been sacked 14 times in the last 6 quarters. 17 times both quarterbacks in both games. I mean, it hasn't been good.
What do you do to protect? I mean, you're 7 games into this, 8 games into the season. What does this team got to do?
They've got to get cohesive. They've got another half a season left to do something positive with this thing. They got to get together. The veterans on the line have to basically get together, pull these guys together, and they've got to try to find a way to win the game.
Well, especially when you see the guys like the Fontenot's and Roof. There are veteran guys on this team, but the guys just aren't simply doing the job.
Well, they're not doing the job at all right now. I mean, Wuerffel needs a running game. Wuerffel needs protection, and the Saints have got to do something on 1st and 2nd down. They're putting themselves in a hole by not doing something on 1st and 2nd down.
Let's talk a little bit about Danny Wuerffel. The question will continue to be, does he have the arm strength to play in the National Football League?
Well, it's been kind of an unfair, I guess, assessment of him so far. Anytime you've got somebody down there that's draped around his back the whole time, I don't think he has the kind of arm that Heath Shuler has. I don't think he has definitely not the kind of arm that John Elway has. So he's not going to be the kind of guy that throws the out patterns, the slant patterns, and things like that. He's got great touch. He throws a pretty decent long ball. He has underthrown a couple of, but hey, he's been rushed, and he's got guys draped all over him. He's been hit. He's been beat up.
He's got to get some more situations, I guess, that are 2nd and 4, not 2nd and 10 situations.
It's hard to convert 3rd down and 11, 3rd down and 14, 3rd down and 15 when you put yourself constantly in a hole constantly all the time. And that's what's been happening to him lately, and he didn't get a fair assessment today. It wasn't fair to him.
Good deal, Steve. We appreciate sticking around. Now, joining us for the Saints coin toss, as they always do, the Junior Captain of the Week. This week it was David DeLeese of Chalmette. He is our Hibernia Junior Captain of the Week. Now, your son or daughter can also share in the fun of a Saints home game. Just stop by any Hibernia location to register. If selected, your child may also take the field with the Saints as just one part of a great day as next week's Hibernia Junior Captain. Now, when we return, Darrell Green will... Welcome back to Ditka Review. The Saints' next opponent, the San Francisco 49ers, and they played an important divisional game today. For that story and a lot more, here's Darrell Green with the rest of the West. Darrell?
Thanks, Jim. The 49ers were back in conference today with the Falcons. As a matter of fact, the Rams were the only ones stepping across league boundaries as we spy on the rest of the West for Week 8.
Who would have ever thought that San Francisco would have almost as many yards rushing as they do passing? 1,238 through the air to 772 on the ground. And who's complaining? 49ers head coach Steve Mariucci seems to like the sense of diversity with his offensive unit. At 49ers.com, the rookie head coach lauding his team as a do-it-all squad. I'd like to think we're a balanced team that can do what it takes to win a ball game. In Atlanta, the Falcons were hoping that last week's win over the Saints was a turning point. Of the Falcons' 5 losses, 3 have been by a touchdown or less. The defense, which leads the league in sacks, was especially pointing to today's game with San Francisco. Defensive end Chuck Smith saying online this week is key for us and how we respond. The Niners and the Falcons going at it today in the Georgia Dome. San Francisco led this one 21-7 in the first half till the Falcons put it together. Chandler to O.J. Santiago for the TD, 21-14, but Young pours it on. He tosses a pair of TDs in the second half. The 49ers stave off the comeback 35-28. Rams fans are having to be patient with their team, kind of like parents. After all, the average age on the starting lineups is barely 27 years old in St. Louis. That means growing pains are common. Head coach Dick Vermeil knows he's going to have to develop what he can before the Rams can contend. At Rams.com, Vermeil summed it up simply. It doesn't take Lombardi, Landry, or Shula to recognize what has to be done here. The Rams taking on the Seahawks today in St. Louis. Not much offense in this one. 10-6 Seattle in the fourth till Steve Broussard takes it in from 9 yards out. St. Louis could muster only 3 field goals. Hawks win 17-9.
Well, right now, as we look at the NFC West standings for Week 8, San Francisco, it's theirs to lose. Carolina and St. Louis and the Orleans and Atlanta, really the also-rans right now in the NFC West.
All right, Steve Court, before we wrap it up, I asked this question to Mike Ditka earlier. What would you say to these 53 guys? You're looking at the locker room tomorrow. You've got the 49ers coming up this week. What do you say to this team to get things turned around?
Yeah, Ditka's done all he can do. The only thing he can do right now is say, hey, veteran ball players, step up, have a meeting, do whatever you got to do, but you got to get these rookies in here. You got to get these young guys. You got to get them rallied around. You got half the season to do something. If you can't do something now, you're in big trouble. But I can do all I can. His hands are tied. He can't do anything more than what he's already done. He's earned his money.
Guys have got to step up, don't they?
They have to. They've got a point now where they've got to rally around it. It's up to them. I don't see him quitting. I certainly don't see Ditka throwing his, he's not going to throw his hands up. He's basically going to tell these guys, look, it's up to you. If you want to win it, great. If you don't, I can't do anymore.
All right, guys, thanks a lot. Now, don't forget to join us. We'll see you next Sunday night.
Is Ditka Review. Steve Young and the San Francisco 49ers bring a 6-game winning streak into the Louisiana Superdome. The hottest team in the NFL has little problem picking apart the Saints' defense. And the #1 defensive unit in the league shuts down Danny Werfel and the Saints completely. Not even backups Heath Shuler and Doug Nussmeier can change the predictable outcome. The Niners win their 7th straight. The Saints are shut out again.
Good evening, everybody, and thanks for joining us tonight on Ditka Live. To quote the man himself, today's offensive performance was an embarrassment. We'll hear a lot more from the coach when we go one-on-one in our exclusive conversation with Mike Ditka later tonight. Plus, we'll also recognize those players who made standout plays against San Francisco. They are Ditka's Dynamos. A little later in the program, former Saint offensive lineman Steve Court will provide us with his analysis. And finally, Darrell Green will bring us up to date on the rest of the NFC West. Let's get started. The San Francisco 49ers are clearly one of the best teams in the National Football League, and they played like it again today. The Saints defense did hold Steve Young and company under 30 points for the first time in 5 weeks. But for the second week in a row, the Saints offense failed to score a single point. Zero. Nada. Zip. You get the point? Our Joe Trahan joins us now with the full game story, and I know you got the point, Joe.
Yeah, it was zilch, nothing.
Yeah, I think you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, not happening for the offense at all. And again, it was hard to watch. Defensively, this team has built a solid foundation. But the offense is like a house of cards, and it's mired in the worst scoring drought in team history.
It's sad, so sad, with the sad situation, and it's getting more and more absurd.
After losing to the Panthers last week, Mike Ditka said the Saints had hit rock bottom. He was wrong.
I guess I was wrong last week. I guess we got a little lower. We're below the 4 now.
The Niners waste no time getting on top. Their first possession ends with Steve Young hitting Garrison Hurst on the 19-yard screen pass, and it's 7-zip. Inept would be far too kind a word to describe the Saints offense. Just one, that's right, one first down in the first 30 minutes, coming late in the half. But after that, Danny Werfel overthrows his receiver, and Zach Bronson picks it off as the Niners take a 13-zip lead into the locker room.
We wanted to try to take some pride in running the football, and be very active in it, and do some quick hitting passes and try to get the ball out quick. And we couldn't really get the run established like we wanted, and then it goes downhill from there.
There was more action behind the Saints bench than on the field in the second half. Werfel was yanked in favor of Heath Shuler to start the fourth quarter, and all 3 QBs see playing time. Shuler coughs it up at the San Francisco 22 and his only drive of the game, though, and the Niners snuff out the Saints' biggest scoring threat. Young and company tack on a late TD to make it 23-zip, but it was hardly necessary. The Niners' top-ranked defense dominates the line of scrimmage, giving up just 55 yards rushing. The Saints were also just 3 of 13 in third down situations. The result? The team's second consecutive shutout, a first in team history.
It's a big goose egg twice. I mean, that's sad. It's embarrassing, and that's never happened to me.
So the Saints suffer their 3rd consecutive loss, all at home, all against divisional opponents.
And as we head into the open week, this is a team searching for answers, especially on how to move the football.
When you come to the end of your rope, which I think it seems like we've been at for a few weeks now, no one has the answers. And that's a tough point to be at in football. It's a tough point to be at in life. I think, again, there's another test of your character. Do you throw in the towel or do you keep fighting?
I guess the best thing for me to do is go home, lay down, try to clear my head so that I won't be in a padded room hugging myself with 4 white walls.
And it's getting more and more absurd.
Hill alluded to going crazy there, and Coach Ditka has to be feeling like he's losing it just a little. You know, he's used all different combinations on offense, different running backs, quarterbacks, and offensive linemen, and nothing, Jim, seems to work. You got to start to think about the fact that there's not enough talent on this football team offensively, so now it's time to start working on who's going to be here for next year. And that's a tough proposition going into the 9th week of the season.
Yeah, when you think you want teams to be improving at this point,
right,
making improvements. This team clearly is an improvement. Clearly, it was playing better football at the beginning of the season than they are right now. Each Sunday after the game, Saints head coach Mike Ditka sits down for an exclusive post-game conversation. As always, the coach didn't pull any punches when assessing his team's performance.
Does it get more and more frustrating as the weeks build?
I think it gets, frustrating is one word. I think embarrassing is the word right now. I mean, the embarrassment level that we should feel as coaches and players on offense is, it's significant. I mean, I don't care. I mean, as I said, you know, I've been around the game for a lot of years, and I think we could draw them up in the dirt and play better than we're playing right now. I don't know what the problem with the offense. I can't say because I didn't see the films, but the execution was horrendous. I mean, when you can't punch the ball for a yard with the people we have running the football and with our offensive line, then there's got to be something. I don't care what they do. There's nowhere. They can't put enough people up there to stop you from getting a yard on 3rd down, and we couldn't do it twice.
And then production for the quarterback was a problem again.
No production for the quarterback because he was pressured again very fast. We tried to go to some quick rhythm passes, and really, I don't know, the receivers weren't open or he had to hold the ball. But I mean, a couple times we went to a 3-step drop that he had people in his face immediately. And again, a quarterback, I don't consider that the biggest problem. And we said earlier when we took the job, the 2 things that have to happen to be effective on offense. You must be able to run the ball effectively, and we haven't done that. And you must be able to pass protect, and we haven't done that. So now anything else doesn't matter.
And both of those come back to the offensive line doing their job.
Well, I'm not blaming anybody, but I'm saying we all have a responsibility, and we have to shoulder it, and we as coaches are going to take the brunt of the criticism, which we should. I should take all the criticism. But the fact is we have got to play better football on offense. Everybody has to understand it. Hey, this is not a part-time job. We don't do it some of the time. We have to do it all the time. We can't do it all the time, right one time and wrong one time. It has to be right all the time.
Especially against a team like the 49ers.
Well, yeah, you know, and I knew our defense was playing pretty good if we gave them any chance. And I mean, yeah, we're sitting there. We put 7 on the board, put a little pressure back on them. It's a little different, but we never did it. We never put any pressure on them to do anything. They could just do anything they wanted to do out there.
We got to take a break, but stick around. Up next, we'll talk about the turning point of today's game, and we'll hear what Steve Young and the rest of the 49ers had to say about the Saints. Plus, a few Saints did play well today. They are Ditka's Dynamos. They're next.
Ditka Review is sponsored in part by Sprint PCS, Big Shot Beverages, Winn-Dixie, Burger King, your local Dodge dealers, and by Popeyes.
On the outskirts of town, there's a little antique store called Andy's where you can get some great deals. But if you visit, drive your GMC Sierra because Andy doesn't deliver, Sierra does, with the most powerful gas V8 in its class and the convenience of an available 3rd door. Maybe that's why Sierra has such high resale value. With $15.80 option package savings on Sierra, you can afford the other fine things in life as well. GMC Sierra. See your local GMC dealers today.
So I take my kid to Popeyes for the spicy chicken. Won't touch it. He wants the mild kind.
Thanks for joining us tonight on Ditka Review. Now, believe it or not, the Saints were given an opportunity to get back into today's game. Early in the 4th quarter, Mark Fieldsack pinned the 49ers back to their 12, and Eric Gulliford gave the Saints their best field position. It was then that Heath Shuler entered the game and moved the ball to just outside the red zone. But as Mike Ditka tells us, that's when this game turned again.
Back now with the Tamba turning point, and Mike, at the end of the game in the fourth quarter, Heath moves the team a little bit, then a sack, the ball gets turned over, and that was really the last legitimate chance to get in the end zone.
Yeah, it really was, and that's unfortunate because he did throw a couple good balls there. Of course, on the play he was sacked on. Again, he had no chance on the play. I mean, we have breakdown in our protection, and you got to give the guy a chance to get the ball downfield. Now, I'll say one thing about them. They got rid of the ball a lot quicker than you know, I mean, it's just amazing how fast they got rid of it because we had pressure on them. But our offense is not that kite. We try to run a quick thing where we get rid of the ball a little quicker, but it doesn't work as well. But right now, the way our offense is working right now, I'll try anything. I mean, I would throw it backwards if I thought it would work.
Is that just when is it just, are there better players on the other side when
No.
they can, when you both trying to run the same thing?
No. It is not better players, and I just think our execution right now on offense, our confidence level on offense is at an all-time low, and until we can change that and make people believe. We didn't have this problem early in the year coming out. We thought we could move the ball. We felt confident about what we were doing. We'd take people off the ball. All of a sudden now we don't do any of that.
Talk a little bit about your quarterback situation now. You played all three today. When will you make a decision for the next game?
Jimmy, I told the media down, I really don't think that's the big decision to make right now. I'll say honestly right in front of everybody that it wouldn't matter to me, and I don't think it would matter to the team a whole lot whether Heath, Danny, or Doug started. I mean, I think our people right now look at all three of those guys and say, hey, whoever's out there, we'll play for them. We'll try to play the best we can for them. But that's the problem. We aren't playing the best we can for any of them. So it doesn't matter. I'll make a decision. I probably won't make a decision until the following week. We're going to practice for 3 days this week, give them 3 days off, and then come back and see if we can salvage anything out of this mess.
When you look at this week off, is this a week for introspection for everybody on this team? For everybody just to try to man up for the last 7?
I can't say that. I mean, I don't know what individuals think about. I mean, I know it is for me and for the staff. We'll try to look at what we did and break down some things, and we'll try to practice on some things that we'd like to look at. But you know, it's probably going to be a lot of soul searching for us. I don't know if people want to soul search. I mean, I guess there's room for everybody to take a little shot at it.
How disappointing is this for you, Mike? I mean, when you're referring to this as a mess now, that's got to be disappointing for you right now.
It's embarrassing. I think more than anything, my disappointment has come early in the year because I thought we'd be a much better football team than we were. I think we let down a lot of people here, let down the ownership, and maybe we let down the players to a degree, but the players also have to do it. I mean, I said a long time ago, coaches coach, players play, and it'll never change. I mean, it doesn't matter what we tell them to do, we have to do it on the field. And right now, we're not executing worth a hoot. You know, people, well, and I said the disappointment came earlier in the year, but this is downright embarrassing, and I think it should be that to everybody, I mean, until we remedy it.
Now, after the game on the Fox postgame show, I caught up with a pair of key 49er players in today's win against the Saints. Steve Young and Terry Kirby give us a view from the other side of today's game.
I think we had as much trouble against this New Orleans Saints defense than we've had all year. I mean, they really are playing well. If they could get some help on the other side, it's clear that they could win some games. But we're grateful for our defense shutting them down. And then we got some points and made some big plays early and late. But in between, a little mushy.
It's tough. You know, Saints got a good defense. They were playing us tough the entire game. In the beginning of the game, we weren't, you know, we get one big run out of, you know, maybe 5 or 6. And, you know, at the end of the game, we just got one big run, mine. And, you know, Garrison got a couple in there. And, you know, we're sticking with it even though they were stopping it.
But we came up with the plays that they had to, and that's football. I mean, coming down to New Orleans, I don't remember ever getting out here without some scrapes on my knees and some bangs on my shoulders. So, typical Saints game.
Now don't go away because we still have lots more to review with you on tonight's show. Up next, a few players did step up today. We'll introduce you to Ditka's Dynamos. And then former Saints Steve Court will provide us with his analysis of the Saints' performance.
Be there to cheer the Saints when they face the Oakland Raiders on November 9th. Let DMI, the official travel company of the Saints, make all the arrangements for you.
So, what's under Under the hood, Speedy, you know Ford Taurus has a Duratec V6.
700 horsepower.
Yeah. Taurus has safety cell construction.
Still okay.
Analog brakes.
Ventilated disc.
Fantastic deal. Yeah, think about that for a while.
Get $2,000 cash back or 2.9 financing on Taurus at your local Southern Quality Ford dealer today.
So, Dale, you got any cup holders in here?
Cup holders?
Vanity mirror? Hey, CD player. Where's the other seat?
See your local Southern Quality Ford dealer for $2,000 cash back on Taurus.
Coach Mike Ditka on how to know when you've made a great deal.
There's only one way to tackle, one way to block, and one way to make a burger. My way.
His way. He wants it flame broiled. He wants everything fresh from bun to bun.
If I say, hold the pickles, hold the lettuce, that's the way I expect it.
Because as far as he's concerned, there's only one way to make a burger.
My way.
His way.
So where do you think I go when I'm hungry, huh?
When the Saints take the field against the Falcons, we want you to be in that number. Through DMI Travel, enjoy your Saints Fan Tours getaway package to Atlanta, a city of the Old South. While in Atlanta, you'll stay where the Saints stay at the downtown Marriott Marquis. Book your vacation package including tickets to the game, round-trip transportation, game transfers, and hotel accommodations. Experience an unforgettable football fantasy getaway, November 23rd, when the Saints play the Falcons. Ditka's Dynamos is brought to you by Big Shot Beverages.
Iron Mike Ditka.
Sure, out there on the gridiron, I'm the big shot. But around here, it's a different story.
Mike.
So when the boss sends me to make groceries, I bring home the big shot. They got lots of great flavors, and she'll love the deal I got. Go on, tell them.
Well, okay. 6 bags of Big Shot, just 99 cents this week at Schwegmann's.
Sounds great. How does it taste?
Hey, would a big shot like me steer you wrong?
Give me a break.
So take it from the Ditkas.
Hey, I think I'm going to like New Orleans.
And bring home the Big Shot from Schwegmann's.
Welcome back to Ditka Review. Each week we spotlight key Saints players for their standout performances. So for their individual efforts against San Francisco, let's take a moment to recognize Ditka's Dynamos. On defense, we start with Mark Fields. 9 tackles today, 1 sack. Again, Fields providing a big-time presence on the defensive side of the football. On special teams, Eric Gulliford, 129 yards in kickoff returns. He had 3 punt returns. He averaged just under 10 yards per return. Very strong effort for Eric Gulliford. And on offense, really hard to hand out an award this week. Hard to recognize a unit that goes scoreless 2 weeks running. Joining us now for a different perspective on today's game is ex-Saint Steve Korton, talking about the offense. Steve, when Mike Ditka refers to it as a mess like he did a little earlier, that is not a real good thing. This team is really struggling on the offense, aren't they?
Well, it's getting to the point now where they're embarrassed. The thing is, they were on third downs. They were 3 of 13 for their production today. That's deplorable.
And it wasn't long third downs. These are a couple of short plays early in the game really made a difference, didn't it?
Well, it is. I mean, anytime you cannot do anything on first and second down, then you're forced to go ahead and try to do something on third down, especially with the way Saints have no running game right now. It puts them in a hard spot. I mean, you can't really fault the quarterback in this situation. He's in a situation where he has no protection. He has no running game. The defense clearly knows what they're going to do, so that puts him in a bad spot.
Does it come down to the offensive line right now?
Well, I don't think it entirely is the offensive line. I think the offensive line is a big part of it. Their lack of production for the first time is, or I guess continued at this point, 9 games into the season, has not come together for them interior-wise. They have no running game. That puts them at a huge disadvantage. There's no production.
What do you do if you're Danny Abramowitz and Tom Moore and Tom Clements and this staff? What do you do at this point? You've got a week to take off to assess what's going on. What would you do in their shoes right now?
I think you look at your personnel. You make the moves that you can with the people you have, depending on what that is. That's hard in this day and time. And then maybe you work on some scheme to where you work with a young quarterback. You say, look, let's find out best what these guys do. Let's get them out. Let's try to find out if, in fact, we can throw the short passes, if we can throw anything out of the backfield, something to get the heat off the quarterback from taking a straight rush.
Defensively, people will probably look out and see 26 points and think it wasn't a great effort, but it really is a pretty strong effort from the defense today for the Saints.
Well, the defense is really played pretty well for the Saints for the last several weeks in a row. They really have. From the standpoint, the 49ers have a great scheme. They have, I guess, a short passing game that's as equal or better to than most offensive teams in NFL's running games.
Efficient really is the key word with these guys, isn't it?
Well, they're never in a hurry. They're totally under control almost all the time. You never feel like with the 49ers in any kind of problem where they're rushing anything. There's any sense of urgency with them. They seem like they're very controlled. They know exactly what they're doing, and they just proceed down the field with just a 1-2, almost a script.
If you look at this team now, you've got a break. If you're Mike Ditka, what do you assess at this team and be not just on offense, but what does this team need to do in this break when they've got a little time off?
Well, I think there's definitely some introspective that's going to happen these couple of weeks. Usually I know when teams get on a roll, if they happen to be winning, which the Saints aren't, of course we know that, but a break at this time is kind of a bad thing because it gets you out of momentum. In this sense, it may be a good thing. Or at least some players get to heal up some bumps and bruises if in fact that's the case. I don't believe it's the case. I think it's a thing right now where they have to look at it. The Saints are going to go back and scheme up something where they can get something going for the next, try to salvage this thing the best they can.
All right, Steve Court, stick around. Now there is still more ahead on Ditka Review, but first we would like to recognize 12-year-old Amy Lynn Brown of River Ridge. Amy Lynn is this week's Hibernia Junior Captain of the Week. She took the field with the Saints for the opening coin toss today. Just one of many activities that Amy Lynn enjoyed at today's game. Now, your son or daughter can also enjoy a Saints game as Hibernia Junior Captain of the Week. To stop by any Hibernia location, register your child to win a great day in the Superdome. Now, when we return, our Darrell Green will join us to update you on the rest of the West.
You know, it takes great connections to make a winning football team. Connections like that. That's what we're building here at the Saints, and that's why I use Sprint PCS. Sprint PCS is building better connections here in New Orleans, superior clarity, and the largest 100% digital network in the metro area. And my conversations stay private, so nobody can eavesdrop on my game plan. Sprint PCS, now that's what I call great connection.
Welcome back. Now, the other NFC West teams had tough matchups today. Our Darrell Green joins us now with the rest of the West. Darrell?
Thanks, Jim. The Saints aren't the only ones having their problems getting into the end zone this year. We found out that some of the campers in St. Louis aren't exactly happy with their quarterback either, as we spy on the rest of the West for Week 9.
In St. Louis, the Rams are struggling, and naturally the offensive woes are being blamed on the quarterback. Sounds familiar. Tony Banks hasn't been able to get the team in the end zone, being sacked 21 times this season, throwing 7 interceptions and fumbling 3 times. At Rams.com, Banks responds to being booed in the Transworld Dome. Quote, "Most of them don't have a clue as to what's going on down there. That's the main reason I don't let it affect me." The Rams taking on the Chiefs this afternoon. Banks getting off to a good start. The scoring toss to Isaac Bruce putting St. Louis up. But the Chiefs convert 4 turnovers, 3 fumbles, and an INT into points. 28-20 the final. Rams lose, and they drop to 2-6 on the year.
Coverage that's seen right there.
Coming into tonight's game with the Panthers, Falcons head coach Dan Reeves expressed some concern about his quarterback. Chris Chandler coming back from his 3rd concussion on the season. Of course, there are medical concerns here. Successive concussions can end a career or even worse. Reeves saying, "It doesn't make any sense to have a guy in there with that problem constantly. It's just too dangerous." The Panthers have injury problems of their own, but coming into tonight, their home field advantage was a bigger question. This season, they simply don't have one. The Panthers are 0-3 heading in. Some critics have blamed the odd kickoff times for the problem, but Sam Mills sees things in a simpler light. Whether it's 6 in the morning or 8 at night, we have to start playing better at home. Of course, the Panthers and the Falcons going at it right now. Scoreless in the first, that is until Tim Biakabatuka goes 14 yards off tackle, puts Carolina up 7-0. Later, Kerry Collins going to get on the act. Mark Carrier going to be on the receiving end. Panthers right now winning this one. They are in the 4th with about 7 minutes to play. Carolina up 21-6 midway through the 4th. This is how the rest of the NFC West stacks up. Of course, Frisco with the best record in the NFC, clearly in the driver's seat, followed by Carolina and Atlanta, both still undecided at this point. The Rams and the Saints still lagging behind.
Steve Court, how important is it in this off week and the rest of the season for the veteran leadership to step on this team? It's a young team. How important is it for the veteran leaders to step up?
Well, the veterans that are there right now have to step up and kind of grab a hold of these guys and say, look, this thing is going to be a total washout. we cannot throw the towel in, because they have to realize and show these guys that week in, week out, National Football League play is much different than college. You can't throw the towel in, you can't quit. It's something you got to stick it out each and every week. These guys are going to have to corral these young guys and say, look, this isn't a dead issue. We have to find a way, especially offensively, to put points on the board.
And 7 games left is not a washout. There is time for this team to recover if they can just start moving the ball a little bit.
Well, there really is, and it's not like they don't have. I mean, you can go down roster spot for roster spot with most of the teams in the NFL, and you can find out, hey, this team is not lacking in effort. They're just lacking in execution.
All right, Steve Court, we appreciate it. Thank you very much. Now, the Saints have an off week next Sunday, but that doesn't mean our coverage takes a break. On Tuesday night, Ditka Magazine goes inside the Saints with coaches and key players of today's 49ers game. Plus, we'll introduce you to the first players inducted to the Saints Hall of Fame Museum, as well as show you how some players get ready for Halloween. Then next Thursday night on Ditka Live, the coach sets the scene for the rest of the season and tackles questions from our live studio audience. And next Sunday on Ditka Review, we'll give you the midterm report card on the team as Mike Ditka joins us for a complete analysis of his New Orleans Saints. From all of us at Fox 8, thanks for watching Ditka Review, everybody, and we'll see you next Sunday night.
72 degrees, no wind, and a really great seat.
Yeah, who cares if it snows when you're under the dome, huh?
Dome schmome, will ya? I'm at home. Yes, yes, go, 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 touchdown, yes!
Carrier, custom-made indoor weather.
The New Orleans Saints go into their midseason break with a poor 2-7 record. But following back-to-back shutouts, Mike Ditka must face the toughest question of his coaching revival. Are the Saints getting better or worse? Tonight, it's time for the midterm grades as Ditka discusses one of the league's leading defenses as well as the league's worst offense. And later, former Saints Steve Court provides us with his own analysis of the Saints' performance. And finally, we'll update you on the big games for the rest of the NFC West today. It's all coming up here on the midseason edition of Ditka Review.
Hi, everybody. I'm Jim Gallagher. Welcome to the special edition of Ditka Review. There are 7 weeks left in the Saints season. 7 weeks for this team to gain a measure of respect. 7 weeks to try and find that spark that Mike Ditka has been so desperately searching for. In the next half hour, we'll break down this team's strengths and weaknesses. We've spoken to assistant coaches, players, and sources around the National Football League to give you a true perspective on this club. Now, 2 weeks ago, Mike Ditka proclaimed that his Saints had hit rock bottom. Last week, they went subterranean in the loss to the 49ers. Joe Trahan joins us now to take a look at the Saints offense. Joe?
Jimmy, I hope up is the only way this offense can go, but it wouldn't surprise me if things got even worse with the way things have been going. Now, Mike Ditka has made several offseason moves to try and retool this offensive unit, but 9 games in so far, it's apparent the makeover hasn't made things any prettier.
In this proud land we grew up strong. We were wanted all along. I was taught to fight, taught to win. I never thought I could fail.
But the Saints have failed miserably on offense. It's been a comedy of errors. The result, though, not too funny for Saints fans. Heath Schuler started the year at quarterback, but he threw 11 interceptions and only 2 touchdowns before giving way to rookie Danny Werfel in Week 8.
As a team leader, you sort of look at it and you say, you know, we need something. What can I do as an individual? I think that's what you sort of say. You know, maybe if I can step up and make a play here, then it'll turn things around. And, you know, it seems like it just sort of backfired each time.
As a unit, the offense has played giveaway, turning the ball over 32 times for a -19 in the giveaway-takeaway ratio. That ranks dead last in the league. The Saints are also last in total offense, passing offense, scoring, first downs, and sacks allowed per pass play. It all starts up front, and that's where the Saints have lost on a consistent basis. Opponents have outmatched the offensive line and stuffed the running game.
We've got to be able to run the football. If you can't run the ball in this league, then you're gonna run into problems. That doesn't mean you can take and run the ball down people's throat week in and week out, but you have to run the ball sufficiently enough that you can run play-action passes and slow that rush down a little bit.
It's been second and long all season. We've charted the Saints' average gain on first down. Notice the spikes in week 4 and 6. The Saints only wins when the team averaged 7 or more yards on first down. But in the last 3 weeks, that number has plummeted. And against the Niners, an average of less than 1 yard on first down.
When you're 2nd and 10, I mean, you can run, but you eliminate a lot of stuff, and when you do pass, they're really coming in there. So we just need to be able to pick up positive yardage on first down.
In his 2 starts at QB, Danny Wuerffel failed to lead the team to a single point. It's the first time the team has ever suffered consecutive shutouts. Now Ditka says either Schuler or Doug Nussmeier will start against the Raiders next week.
Nobody said it was easy. You know, it's a tough job, and you know, we get paid a lot of money to get out here and play football. So if you can't handle it mentally, you know, if you can't bounce back from things when they're not going good, then you need to find another job.
Joining us now is Saints head coach Mike Ditka. And Mike, you've had a couple of days to get away from it, to reflect on the first 9 games. What is your mindset going into the final 7 games of the season?
Well, my mindset is to salvage the season and win some football games by playing offensive, as well as our defense is playing right now. And we're matching up fairly well on special teams. There's no reason that we can't take some of these teams on and beat them. But we've got to be able to hold people away from our quarterback, to protect the quarterback, and to run the football. That's the key to what we have to do, Jim. I watch games, I watch other people play. They do exactly the same things we do. We have to do it better. The pressure right now, and really the responsibility, is going to go to the offensive line more than anybody. They have got to get the job done.
Evaluate their play after the first 9 games.
I think we started out okay. We've had some penalties. The penalties have hurt us all the way through, but I think lately we've really played very terrible football. And the one thing I talked about when I came here was we were going to knock people off the ball. Well, we've knocked people off the ball maybe 2 games this year, and that's about it. 2 out of 9 isn't very good.
How do you explain, when I know talking to you felt like this would be a strength of this team coming into camp?
Well, I thought the strength of the team would be the defense, really, but I thought the offensive line would be intact. Of course, I figured that I would have Naoli in there. I figured with the addition of Fontenot and you know, moving Andy out to left guard with Willie and Clarence, you know, I thought we'd have a pretty solid football team, but you know, we've kind of lost our confidence up front, and this is something they've got to regain. And it really came, I don't know where it really came back, probably Atlanta more than anything when we got all the sacks. And that makes it hard to call plays. It makes it hard to run an offense when those things are going on.
You've got to make a decision. Have you made a decision on your starting quarterback for this coming game?
Well, you know, we'll announce it. You know, we'll announce it Tuesday. You know, we'll make the announcement. In my mind, I know what I want to do. I think it's kind of unfair. I really haven't talked to the boys about it yet. I want to talk to them, but in my mind, I know what I want to do.
But clearly, you want to go back to a veteran leadership.
Well, it's not Danny. Believe me. Believe me. Danny Wuerffel has no problem at all with me. I mean, I would put him in and let him play. That's not a problem at all. The problem right now with Danny is I think it's overwhelmed him a little bit, and he's not getting any help from anybody else. If he got some help from some other people, maybe it would be a little bit different. But you know, one of the other 2 guys will start. We'll see how they can do. And you know, right now it's just up in the air. You can throw it up in the air, and one of them's going to play. That's for sure. One of the 3.
Bottom line is that no matter who is your starting quarterback, he's got to get help from the other guys.
Got to get help from the offensive line, the receivers, the running backs, everybody.
Now we're just getting started here on Ditka Review. Up next, the Saints have played well on defense. We'll break down the Saints D with the coach, and later, Steve Court will join us with his unique perspective. Stick around. Ditka Review will be right back.
Ditka Review.
Welcome back to Ditka Review. We'll get to the Tamba turning point in just a couple of moments. But first, let's continue with our midseason review. And it's back now to Joe Trahan. And Joe, the Saints defense has really stepped it up this season.
Jim, they certainly have. And this D has been under the gun seemingly all season long. But with the steady play of some key veterans and the emergence of some young guns, this defense is among the best in the league.
and I think they're playing as a unit right now. We don't have any individuals.
The Saints defense is ranked 3rd overall in the NFL. The play up front has set the tone. Wayne Martin's 7.5 sacks place him among the league leaders. And when Martin's not making the play, he's eating up double teams so that Joe Johnson and others on the D-line can pressure the passer.
This game being played right now with our front four is just so much easier. I mean, the quarterback's back there. Every time I see him, he's back there running for his life, and that's a good sign. I like to see that look every down.
Winford Tubbs has remained healthy and stepped up to lead the team in tackles with 95. He and Mark Fields have been a great 1-2 punch in the linebacking core. Fields is 2nd on the team in tackles with 72 and 2nd in sacks with 5.
Tubbs is he's stepping into his leadership role now after 4 years. I'm picking it up right behind him, so it's come along. We've been working hard all year, though.
The defense's play has been made even more crucial given the horrible field position they've inherited. Time and time again, the D has had its back against the wall, only to come out and answer the bell fighting.
As a defensive unit, we're gelling together, knowing that, hey, we got to help each other out. This is a team game. It's not an individual game. It's not tennis or wrestling. You know, it's a team game. So we're just gelling as a unit, and it's good.
The Saints secondary has played well in spots, but there have been too many costly breakdowns, and without much offensive support, 1 or 2 breakdowns a game means a loss. Defensive coordinator Zaven Uralian says it's time to turn the table.
We need more turnovers. We need to get more interceptions. We need to cause more fumbles, and we need to recover more balls. I think if we can get that, and we can give our offense shorter field to go, I think we have a better chance of scoring, or score on defense. Why not? You can win it on defense, too.
Back now with Saints head coach Mike Ditka. Mike, I guess if you talk about the turning point of this season, as we always like to do at this point, I guess would be the offense's inability in the last few games to even put points on the board.
There's no question about it. That's a problem. But I'll go back to the first game. I think that's where our problem started. Just making the kind of mistakes that we talked about not making, that we hadn't made in preseason, and that's what happened. We get holding calls. We take it down to about the 5-yard line. We fumble the football. Then we start turning it over. These are the problems that hadn't happened to us. This is all we've stressed in the offseason. We're minus 19 after 9 games in turnovers, which is almost unheard of. I mean, you could work at doing that, and you couldn't be any more successful than we are.
Let's talk a little bit about your defense. Evaluate their play after the first 9 games.
Well, we got a good defense. We don't have a great defense. We have a good defense. We need better play from our corners. We need tougher, aggressive play, better man-to-man. We need, when they're in a bump-and-run situation, they've got to bump. When they're coming up the bump, they've got to take something out of them, whether they're running with them or whether we're playing 2 coverage. We need a little better play out of our safeties. Our linebackers, I think, have played great football. I think our defensive line has played great football. I think we need a little help in the secondary. We've given up way too many big plays. And it's fine to say, well, they're ranked 3rd. But the total ranking is how many points you give up, and I don't care where the other team gets the ball. And I'm not saying I love our defense. Our defense could be a great defense if we could just make a few plays. We're not getting enough turnovers, and actually we're not putting enough pressure on the quarterback unless we blitz. So, you know, people are going to say, well, what's he talking about? Well, I'm talking about fact. I'm not talking about fiction. And the players know that as well as I know that, and that's what we've got to get better at. But once we get a few things, ingredients put into that defense, I guarantee you, will be as good as any defense in the league. We've got some great guys on that football team. And actually, not only that, we got a team that really plays well together right now, Jimmy. I think that's the best part.
How frustrating was it for you today to be watching all these other teams playing and you guys are sitting at home, you know, chomping at the bit to get going out there?
Well, it's bothersome right now. When you look at other teams, they run the same daggone plays we run, they do the same things, and all of a sudden, bang, they pop through, they do this, they hit that play, they end up scoring points. We've gone through 2 games without scoring any points. I look at Atlanta, they struggled. They wouldn't have scored really that many points against us unless we give them. Same with Carolina. They scored 38 today. Atlanta scores 38 or 34 today. I mean, it's amazing to see what's happening around the league, and we're struggling to find a way to move the football with any success at all and to put points on the board.
Mike Ditka, good luck in the last 7 games.
Thank you, Jimmy.
All right, up next, we'll break down the 3rd part of the game. It's special teams. And Steve Court will join us with his analysis of the 97 Saints as Ditka Review rolls on.
Be there to cheer the Saints when they face the Oakland Raiders on November 9th. Let DMI, the official travel company of the Saints, make all the arrangements for you.
Can we use a rigid ladder-type frame to reach new heights in performance? Can the cab-forward concept create more room, even in the trunk? When it comes to what you'll expect down the road, do we have things pretty well covered? These are the questions. This is the answer. Dodge Stratus. Starting under 14.4, 18.4 impressively equipped.
So I take my kid to Popeyes for the spicy chicken. Won't touch it, he wants the mild kind. What are you, a baby, I say? He ignores me, the kid's mesmerized. So I take a bite of his. It ain't spicy, but it ain't bland either. But it ain't spicy. Mild, but tasty. A 4-year-old gourmet, go figure.
Popeyes introduces its tailgating touchdown pack. 12 pieces of spicy or mild chicken and 6 biscuits for just $9.99.
Love that chicken from Popeyes.
Brett Favre passes, intercepted again.
His head is just not in this game.
Now, new Sprint PCS customers can make clear wireless calls for as little as 10 cents a minute anytime.
Maybe the coaches in the booth can solve this problem.
Hello? Hey, it's Brett. So sign up with Sprint PCS now.
Can you see if I left my truck lights on?
It's just 10 cents a minute anytime.
Well, Favre sure looks a lot more relaxed.
So, what's under the hood?